You all asked for it. Here it is. We're finishing Kingdom Hearts 3 and wouldn't be Kingdom Hearts without ice cream. We got very nice eggs, milk, more cream because ice cream, sugar because
ice cream.
There we go.
And
more sugar, right?
And sea salt.
This is not going to taste good, is it?
Nope.
Probably should have picked a spoon for this.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, but this works. And now it's time to freeze this stuff and poison ourselves.
Yeah.
I think our friendship ice cream is ready. At least I hope I haven't checked it. We just finished recording production secrets, and this is we didn't use food coloring.
No.
So
it's yellow.
It's yellow. It's pretty solid.
The deal.
Well, that seems pretty ice creamy.
Oh.
Okay, maybe not everywhere. Doesn't matter.
It's maybe from the edge. In the middle, it's not really ice cream.
The recipe says you should mix it a few times. We didn't. That's ice cream. I don't dislike it.
I do.
Well, that's your fucking question. Now that we're filled with the power of friendship and anime, I mean, we haven't eaten it yet, but for people watching, this happens after production. We're ready to finish off Kingdom Hearts 3. Last time we did all the Disney bullshit, and today we're going to do the actual good stuff.
Alright.
I feel your excitement. So before we get into it, we're going to get into it real quickly because this is going to be very long. Do you have any predictions, hopes, dreams? I mean, I've kind of ruined all your hopes and dreams by dragging you into this, but aside from that, do you have any predictions of what the Kingdom Hearts-centric story is going to end up like by the end of this?
I mean, I guess I hope that at some point Aqua and Ventus and the other one
and the other one
are going to be...
treat them exactly like the story itself does.
They're going to be saved so we can have some big ol' war at some point. Apart from that, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, that's a pretty tame prediction, but we'll get into it. So, Kingdom Hearts 3. After we've done all of the Disney worlds, we get a call on our gummy phone from the dudes themselves, Chip and Dale, because who else? Mickey and Riku, as you might recall, probably not, went into the realm of darkness to go try to get Aqua again. So one of your hopes and dreams already were on the way. But they kind of lost contact, which is...
because Aqua jumped into the ocean.
Aqua... Well,
that was
she
pulled
got knocked into the ocean.
Yeah. I mean, her name is Aqua, so...
Read into that, I sure will. Riku and Mickey are kind of in a spot of trouble. They went into the realm of darkness. We saw them fight the demon side. Last time, Riku got knocked back. Mickey got seemingly eaten and dropped his Keyblade. And now Chip and Dale can't reach them anymore. So they're like, Sora, we kind of need another Keyblade person to go rescue them because we are literally chipmunks and we can't do shit.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And they're always in that same room, which they can't seem to get out.
That's just a room in Disney Castle, which I guess they just hang out in because the chipmunks. Okay,
it looks like a library, and they're a bunch of nerds. So
this is the library at Disney Castle. This is actually a world in the Kingdom Hearts 2 you can just walk around in. Only in Kingdom Hearts 2, and 1 and 3 you never visited. Sora tells everyone to go fuck off and just let him go to the realm of darkness, just like he's been doing throughout the entire game. I want to go to the realm of darkness. I'm a good boy, but I want to go to the realm of darkness to rescue Aqua. And now they're like, I guess the two people who were on that mission are presumed dead, so we might as well let you go. But how are you going to get into the realm of darkness? Because only Mickey can get in there because he's got the special Keyblade of Darkness.
And the plot device thingy, right?
Well, the Keyblade of Darkness is the plot device thing.
Nah, the other thing that makes you appear at the spot you need to be.
Oh! Well, he hasn't used that in a while. He used that in Birth by Sleep, but since then he's been getting around with the gummy ship, and...
right, yeah.
I don't know if that thing could even get you into the realm of darkness, to be honest with you.
Huh.
Maybe you could. In the game where we played as Aqua for a little bit, which we combined in the podcast with the back cover movie, at the end there, we get to see Mickey get the Keyblade from the Realm of Darkness, which you see at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1 as well. And that allows him to go in and out of the Realm of Darkness at will. But he's the only one who's got that. So they don't know how to go to get in there. But Sora says, I'll let my heart be my fucking guiding key. He sticks out his Keyblade and ends up back home on Destiny Islands.
Ooh.
Which apparently has a doorway to the Realm of Darkness. Because on the beach, where he grew up, he finds a fucking Keyblade.
I should do.
This is the Master Defender. It's the Keyblade that Master Ericus had in Birth by Sleep. And then later Aqua inherited it. And she said she'd lost her Keyblade at some point.
Uh-huh.
Apparently it ended up on the beach on Destiny.
And it probably fell from some kind of container ship or whatever.
It's just litter.
Yeah.
It's just ocean litter. Fun fact, this shot that we have right here is actually a shot from the very first trailer of Kingdom Hearts 3. This is the exact shot that revealed the fact that they were making Kingdom Hearts 3. And it's at the end of the game, because of course it is.
I mean, it's a fake shot, which you can read. You can read way too much into it, so it's nice to drop in a trailer.
Yeah.
Just to get the buzz going.
Everybody expected this to be the halfway point of the game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you find the Keyblade, then you go save Aqua, and then it takes a little bit longer, you go save Ven. No,
Nope.
It's the end of the game. He shoots a laser, creating a door into the Realm of Darkness, because we're not going to think about it. And Donald and Goofy wants to go with him, but Sora tells him, no. You guys aren't coming along. This is some Keyblade shit. You guys are going to sit this one out.
You guys are way too useful.
Yeah, you guys are
Get the
Disney
fuck
characters.
out.
This is Kingdom Hearts shit. Stay the fuck out of it.
Fair enough.
Meanwhile, that's him picking up the Keyblade. Meanwhile, in the Realm of Darkness, these two fuckers are in a spot of trouble. As we discussed before, we see the cutscene again of Riku getting his shit kicked in and Mickey getting presumably eaten by the darkness and the Heartless. But now we also see it continue, and a shadowy figure jumps out of the darkness, walking over to pick up Mickey's Keyblade, which he dropped.
Some Dementor-looking motherfucker.
He is, indeed. Very Dementor-looking motherfucker. We hear Aqua's voice as the darkness dissipates, saying, Mickey, you're too late.
With the green, the yellow eyes, so...
And the white hair.
Yeah.
It's kind of a giveaway.
Yeah.
Aqua's is pretty evil. She's been stuck in this literal hell for the last 10 years, and the darkness has been slowly seeping into her heart. And she waited and waited and waited for help to arrive, but nobody ever came. She did once run into Mickey Mouse, which then went on to abandon her again. So all of that culminated with her falling down into the water, like we saw in the other cutscene, allowing the darkness to take over, and this is now Bad Girl Aqua.
Is it just the darkness, or has she been knotted?
This was another trailer shot, and again, it's a trailer shot that takes place at like the end of the game. So everybody was like, there was even a meme going around of a guy just barging into a room screaming, Aqua got knotted! Aqua got knotted! And just another guy looking over, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that would be my reaction before we did all this.
Yeah. Everybody assumed that she got knotted because white hair, yellow eyes. That is exactly what happened to Terra when he got a bit of the Nord in his heart. It's just darkness.
She's just a dark girl now.
She's just evil now.
All right.
And you know how we deal with evil people? We kick the shit out of them until they're good.
We smack the evil out of them.
Exactly. That's how you deal with evil people, obviously. So she says that 10 years in the Realm of Darkness has left her scarred, full of misery and despair.
10,000 years in the Realm of Darkness is such a pain in the back.
And she's going to share that misery and despair with them. To which Riku stands up and saying, no need for that. I've got enough of my own. And then she goes on to kick Riku's ass really fucking hard. But just as we're about to... I messed up the timing of these slides. This is supposed to be, I've got enough misery of my own. Looking back at his own past dark version. And then she kicks Riku's ass. Because Aqua spent about a decade fighting off hell monsters, Heartless, and now is powered up by the power of darkness. So even Riku's having kind of a tough time with it.
She has been like RuneScape grinding small evil minions, getting ridiculous stats.
Except that the small evil minions in the Realm of Darkness, as we talked about at the start of the last episode, are still ridiculously powerful. Even the most basic version, they're like their home turf are really difficult to do.
They got the home advantage.
Yeah. So Riku needs a little bit of help. So in the fight, you fight as Riku for a while, and at some points you beat her. Then the cutscene goes, oh no, I'm actually not powerful enough. And you get a quick time event just labeled Sora. And you press it, and Sora drops from the fucking sky because he goes through the door and ends up in the realm of darkness. Yeah. So together they wield the gay blade.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is
yeah, that's pretty gay.
That's pretty gay.
Yeah.
It's real cute. It's pretty gay.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but
this was a thing in Dream Drop Distance where in every world there was like a special attack that either of them could do, and in one of the worlds, for both of them, it's this attack where like they combine and their keyblades combine and they do this, and
it's Power Rangers assemble.
Power of friendship and hearts and Kingdom Hearts and light and gay. Fans know this as the gay blade for good reasons. So of course, as we do because we're the main character, we beat the darkness out of her, and she goes back to normal. But she's on the water where she fell in that turned her dark in the first place, so she's falling back in. But this time, a hand reaches out and Sora pulls her back out of the dark. As she wakes up on the Destiny Islands, she sees a vision of Terra and Ventus. Terra is the other guy, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, they're called Terra, Ventus, and Aqua. Aqua, we know. Terra is Earth. Ventus is air.
Oh.
So that's how you remember. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that at least Sora, his name, also means air, but in Japanese. Kairi and Aqua also have some kind of thing with their name. I'm not entirely sure on that one.
Is there a fire someone?
Axel,
Oh, yeah.
which to be fair is friends with both Ventus and Sora. So we'll get to that in a moment. So she wakes up at the Destiny Islands and sees a vision of both of these guys. But of course, these are not here because Terra is Xehanort and Ventus is asleep. So they're not on the Destiny Islands. Instead, it's Sora and Riku. Also, I've got transitions in this PowerPoint now.
Ooh.
I'm fancy. Don't get used to it.
When are the Star Wipes coming?
I did consider it, well, not a star wipe, but I did consider a wipe. But like Google Slides has really bad transition, so I only have like dips to black and source. She sees, oh, wait a second, these are not my friends. These are Riku and Sora, the kids that she met when they were little kids. And she looks around and she asks, wait, I'm on the Destiny Islands, you guys are here? When did the Destiny Islands fall to darkness? Thinking she's still in the realm of darkness.
Makes sense after 10 years.
Exactly. So Riku reaches out a hand telling her that, in fact, she's in the realm of light. She's home.
Yay.
And a single tear rolls down her face. And everybody hugs. And everybody's happy.
Bullshit. Yeah.
It's going to be happy for like a minute.
Nah.
While all that is going on, in Radiant Garden, Vexen and Demyx, because you definitely remember who both of these are,
Sure.
are talking. Demyx is like, but why would you choose me? Backstabbing these guys is a stupid plan. I didn't even know you back when we were humans, so why should I care to help you betray the organization now? And Vexo whispers something in Demyx's ear, saying that it was all his idea. He's one of the chosen, though, so I have to act on his behalf. Meaning, potentially a lot of different things.
Sure.
And Demyx just kind of goes along with it, thinking, okay, that sounds kind of neat. I don't have anything else to do. I'm just backup. I'm a bench warmer. I'm not even chosen to be one of the 13 in the upcoming battle. So if I'm not going to go be for the bad guys, I might as well help the good guys, I suppose. I need something to do. In the castle, Ienzo is thinking. He's come a long way towards reconstructing Roxas's heart. But all that is no good without a vessel, because they still don't have a replica. So without that, they're going to have to shove him into a computer, which isn't really a good option, because at that point, he's still going to be stuck in a computer instead of just stuck in Sora's heart. It's not really freedom. But just then, a dark corridor opens, and Demyx walks in, carrying what looks like a dead body, but that's a replica body.
It's a lifeless body in not as much dead. It's
well, if it was never alive, it can't be dead.
Yeah.
So it's lifeless.
Yeah.
But it's waiting for a heart to have put into it. So he walks through a dark portal with a replica body, but he doesn't just have a replica body. He's got one more present, that being Master Ansem the Wise is back.
Oh shit.
And he ends up like, exactly that. Oh, fuck. I betrayed him and shoved him into the realm of darkness with all my other people. He's back.
Oops.
Hello, Master.
Hi.
Master Ransom the Wise, though, says, we can talk about that later. It's all fine. You were deceived. You were just a child. It's fine. Let's get to work on getting this replica ready to put our Roxas in it.
Oh, I'll punch your face later.
Exactly. This is, now's not the time to be making enemies. We already have enemies. We need to kill them, and then we can make enemies with each other. Back with Sora and the gang, though, we are in a pre-rendered cutscene, so something is going to happen.
Ooh.
They have Aqua. She's back in the realm of light. So we got to move on to Castle Oblivion, which looks so much better than it did on the PlayStation 2.
Oh, hell yeah.
Also, again, pre-rendered, but sure.
Yeah.
She does her little Keyblade trick and turns it back into the land of departure.
Ooh.
Somehow before it got destroyed. I guess it just loaded an earlier save state before Xehanort came along. I don't know.
Can I build that into my own house keys?
That would be amazing. So now Aqua's back and we immediately go back to the land of departure and we make our way up to the throne room, the place where they had the exam in Burgos.
Yeah.
Where Ventus is like 12 years later, still just taking a nap on the middle throne. And Aqua goes up to him thinking he'll just suddenly wake up for some reason after 12 years. I don't know why she would think that, but trying to wake him up when they are joined by Vanitas.
Dang. Damn.
Who's all like, that's a neat trick. Now I understand why nobody could find him. So thanks for opening this up. I'm going to take my vessel and leave. And everybody's like, your vessel? Like, fuck you are. He's going to be one of our Guardians of Light.
Yeah.
You're not going to do anything with him. He's our boy.
Get the fuck out of here.
To which he's like, I can fight you for him. That's fine. And Aqua stands up. You want to fight? Let's go, big boy. We're going to fight. Sora gets ready to fight as well. Mm-hmm. And Aqua's like, no. This is my fight. I'm going to kick his ass. And then she gets her ass kicked.
Oh.
But then, as Sora watches Aqua get beaten, he feels something deep inside of his heart. A connection with Ven, finally.
Hey.
And Ven's like, hey, my friend is in trouble. Could you please wake me the fuck up? And Sora's like, I spent like 12 hours doing Disney crap, man. I still don't have the power of waking. I don't know how that was supposed to help me. I don't know how to do it. And Van's kind of just like, I don't know, just do it, bro. And Sora just kind of does it.
Just believe in yourself.
It's something along the line of, you never lost the power. It sleeps until it is needed. And now you need it, so fucking do it.
Then why the fuck did we do 12 hours of that other shit?
Because contractual obligations.
Yeah.
So Sora finally manages to unlock his own heart. And this is a very nice cutscene where the platform we had before, it dissipates away and showing Ventus's platform under it, where his heart shoots out of it and wakes Ventus up. As Ventus wakes up and he sees Aqua about to be murdered, he smashes through the barrier that Aqua puts up in order to have a one-on-one fight, which seems like a bad idea, but sure.
Yeah.
Ven can just break through it, and he locks Keyblades with Vanitas. Vanitas, though, thinks, hey, there's 3 of them now. That's a little bit much for me, so I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
I'll see you in the real big battle in the Keyblade Graveyard, like, in a day or 2. We'll fight there. They'll have all my friends, and we'll be like 13-7, so I feel better about my odds there. Sora doesn't seem at all fazed by the fact that Roxas and Ven look the exact same.
Yeah, he's seen weirder shit.
He's like, oh, this is Ventus. Yes, I know you. You don't look exactly like the other version of me, which is sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Ventus, though, actually perks up when he hears that this is Sora. He's like, you're Sora? I know so much about you, but I've never seen you because I've been inside of you.
Yeah.
So Ventus has been like 100% aware these past 12 years of everything that's happened to Sora while he was inside there.
Fuck, that's gotta be frustrating.
Yeah. But in kind of like, he experiences kind of like dreams because he was asleep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the 12 years he spent inside of Sora's heart. It's just like a very long dream. So it's not like first person actual memories.
Yeah. Yeah.
It still
sucks.
Still sucks and still real fucks. Now though, we've got Aqua and Ventus. So everybody's happy. We've had your dreams fulfilled.
Yay.
Well, Terra as well, but who cares about him? You didn't even know his name. So we can end. That's been it.
All right, bye.
Okay, the next day we'll group up at Yensid's tower. Everybody is here. Lee, Kairi, Sora, Goofy, Riku, Aqua, and Ventus, which altogether makes our 7 Guardians of Light plus 2 Disney characters. Also, Mickey is there behind that candle.
Oh, yeah.
He's real short. And everyone's just catching up. Riku thanks Aqua for saving him back in Kingdom Hearts 1, and Aqua learns that Riku is now a full Keyblade master. She seems also happy to see Sora is still the same carefree, happy person that he was as a kid. Sora has no idea who the fuck she is.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? I mean, he was like 4 when they...
Yeah.
Next, Aqua sees Kairi, who also has no idea who the fuck this blue-haired lady is. But Aqua's like, oh, we met when you were a child. And she's like, oh, but sorry, my memories from that time is a little hazy. I don't remember much from my childhood because she went through a lot of trauma, being sent to a different world. But everybody's happy, and Aqua's like, oh, the charm I put on you to keep you safe seems to have worked because you very much look not dead.
That's fair, yeah.
Axel buds in, or Lee. Again, I'm going to use their names changeable because...
Red hair dude.
The red hair dude, the fire dude. Buds in, very confused because there's a lot of people here, and Van looks just like Roxas, or is it just Roxas look just like Van? There's just a lot to get memorized, is literally what he says. Also, I like this shot. I cropped it out a little bit to get like the YouTube playbar out of it, but this is more or less a shot. It's a shot of Axel, and Kairi's just hanging out in the bottom left corner.
Still no personality.
Still no personality. She's going to do a thing, okay? She's going to do a thing.
Yeah.
Ven's all like, that's not what I wanted to show, but sure. Ven's all like, oh, Lee, I remember you. I met you like 5 minutes 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They met a Radiant Garden in Birth by Sleep. So you're a Keyblade wielder too now. That's awesome. Cool. Good. I inspired you. Fine. More or less.
Yeah, sort of.
And Axel, Lee, just has an existential crisis, like about all these new people and Sora and Kairi and Riku and...
I mean, they're the new people, but they look the same, and that one was inside of that one, and then...
He's kind of feeling what you're feeling, is what's happening.
Yeah.
So Jiminy Cricket jumps out of Sora's pocket, because he's still here.
Oh.
Well, and he gives everyone a gummy phone, a smartphone, with just a link to this podcast playlist, effectively. So everybody can catch up. He just has like his whole journal digitized.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's a voice synthesizer, and then just...
effectively, it's just like got a bookmark to the wiki page. So everybody can catch up, and they've got each other's phone numbers now, so they can call each other and just figure out what all happened, so we don't have to do that on screen, because that's my job. They agree to all go to the Keyblade graveyard together tomorrow as a group. But first we have some little scenes here for the calm before the storm, because we gotta have... First up, we have Ventus and Aqua sitting down outside Yensid's tower. Ven talks about while he was sleeping, he had dreams. Dreams of Aqua and Terra, and of these strange, colorful monsters, which are the Dream Eaters.
Yeah.
This is really sad for a reason we'll get to in the next.
Alright.
I'm not going to make you guess it, because there's like, you actually have no grounds to understand why that is sad, but it is really sad that Van was dreaming about the Dream Eaters for 12 years straight. Maleficent and Pete...
Oh,
we also get a calm before the storm from them, because they're still looking for that goddamn box. And they just decide, you know what? Or rather, Maleficent just decides, you know what? I don't think that this box actually exists. So let's just stop looking for it. And he's like, it doesn't exist. We've been wasting all of our time. And Maleficent, come on. It doesn't exist right now. There's a Keyblade War brewing, and something tells me that after the war is fought, the box may appear.
Right.
I can see you thinking, how the fuck does that work? Because it existed before, it doesn't exist now, and it will exist again in the future.
I mean, nothing surprises me anymore in this bullshit.
I don't have an explanation for you. is what I'm working toward here. We'll worry about these two later. They're not that important.
Yeah.
Up on the clock tower, Axel is sitting alone by himself, having gotten 3 sea salt ice cream, and just being sad that he didn't manage to...
Sad.
It's very sad on his own. 3 ice cream, and he hasn't managed to bring Roxas back, and for Kingdom Hearts tradition, eating ice cream at the most dangerous place where you can find them with your friends, but he doesn't have any friends, because, well, one of his friends, nobody remembers that she ever existed,
right,
and one of his friends is inside of Sora, and tomorrow maybe everybody dies, so...
Looks exactly like the other dude he just met.
Yeah, maybe you can just replace Roxas with Ven.
Yeah.
He can project on that. He tried to project Shion, even though he doesn't even remember that she existed on Kairi. He can project Roxas on the Ventus. That's fine. They can all have ice cream together, and he can think about Roxas while they do it. But up in the clock tower here, he's joined by Syx, which is here, apparently. Kind of freaks Lee out, as well as everybody playing this. Like, okay, one of the bad guys is here just hanging out. Sure. But he says, don't worry, I'm not here to fight. We'll do all that tomorrow. For now, let's just talk. I mean, you got 3 ice creams, so that's 1 for you and 1 for Roxas. Who's the third one for? Must be for me.
Sure.
Right? And everybody worldwide just sobs thinking about Shion.
No.
He forcefully takes the 3rd ice cream bar, and they talk about when they used to be friends back when they were human beings. Just normal. Of course, Axel Lee is a person again, but Syx still is a nobody.
Still has an X in his name.
Yeah, he still has an X in his name, so he's still a nobody. They used to sneak into the castle in the Radiant Gardens where they lived, where they met a girl who was locked up there in the basement, which is really sus.
Yeah.
They decided to become apprentices on Ansem the Wise in order to be able to save this girl, but they failed. One day, she was just all of a sudden disappeared without it. Syx tells Lee that, no, we didn't fail. You gave up. Axel says, well, she vanished, and Ansem vanished shortly after that, and then we got turned into nobodies, and what the hell was I supposed to be doing? Syx says that despite rising through the ranks of the organization, he never found as much of a trace of the girl, and he accepts that she's well and truly gone. And that Axel should maybe do the same for Roxas, because he's not coming. Axel tells him, to get real, I'll get both of them back, especially Roxas. Because this is the first time we're ever hearing about this other girl, which is getting really shoehorned in to this final segment of this story. I will say that back in, and you're not going to remember this, but back in Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, the game that focused entirely on Roxas and pretty much entirely took place on this clock tower, there were a couple of scenes where these 2 characters were being shady and seemed to have like a different plan going on aside from the organization's plan.
Yeah.
That was never really delivered on. We can assume that this has something to do with that.
Probably maybe sort of, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where they probably just put in a scene like, just put something mysterious in there, which we maybe in like 10 years can build off of, and it will look like we plan things out.
If we want to do a thing, then we have a thing to go back to and just say that that was the thing.
Yeah, and if we decide not to, we can spin it another way. That's very much the vibe I get from those cutscenes. And they decided to build a storyline around these 2 being friends and trying to find one of the children that Ansem the Wise did his heartless experiments. Syx notes that the marks under Axel's eyes are gone. He had those little like teardrop tattoos under them. And Axel responds that he doesn't need them anymore to hold back the tears, because Axel, back when they were like kids, used to be like a major crybaby. So when he became a nobody, apparently they get to choose the different facial markings they get as nobodies, maybe, potentially, I don't know. Right. He drew on those little teardrops to hold back the tears so he wouldn't cry and he could be strong.
So he just has a constant teardrop, so he
doesn't have to
real...
actually cry, and don't think about it.
Sure.
I still like to think that he just killed people in prison.
Yeah.
It's more in line with this character, but sure. On the Destiny Islands, Riku is sitting alone watching the sunset. Except he's not alone, he's chilling with Replica Riku, who is also here, but not physically. He's just like a vision, a projection from inside Riku's heart. We learned that at the start of the game, when Riku was swallowed by the darkness, and inside of that like heartless tower thing, he heard a voice saying, hey, I didn't expect you to be here. That voice was Replica Riku, the character from Chain of Memories. Since Chain of Memories, when you killed him, he's been wandering around without a body in the realm of darkness. So he's just been a heart wandering around, again, effectively hell. Until he, at the start of the game, by chance, happened upon Riku in the realm of darkness and just kind of decided, hey, if we're all going to die anyway, I might as well die together with like real Riku rather than alone in the realm of darkness. That seems preferable.
Yeah.
Besides, I still have some unfinished business to attend. So this is why, remember when I point out after Riku comes out of that dark tower, his hair is slightly different?
Yeah.
It's because he's got this motherfucker in his heart now.
Which also changes your physical appearance, apparently.
Yeah, well, we've seen that, like, melding heart and possessing people, like with Terra, can change people's appearance, but also getting taken over by darkness in general.
Yeah.
With Aqua,
getting naughted and just getting evil.
He
kind of does the same thing.
Riku got Riku'd.
Yep.
So Riku now has just got Riku replica chilling out in his heart, much the same way Roxas was chilling out in Sora, and Ventus was chilling out in Sora, and Shion, which nobody knows about, is chilling out in Sora.
And everybody's chilling out in Sora.
Riku now also has a version of himself inside himself.
Yay.
Very cool. A little distance away, though, Kairi and Sora are looking over at Riku, wondering why he's being alone. And Kairi's like, because he doesn't want a third wheel, as fuck you. Because Kairi pulls out a Pelpu fruit. And every time I look at this scene, I can't help but think Sora's face here just looks utterly unprepared.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you very much remember the like symbolism of the Pelpu fruit in Universe being if you share one with somebody, it like links it intertwines your destiny. Is what it says. Yeah. So it's pretty much like linking your destiny, your soul with another person. So this is very much like we are fucking getting married. Okay. So they both take a bite. Well, we see Sora has taken a bite out of his. If you look real closely, the one Kairi gets stuffed into her face doesn't actually have a bite taken out of it. People think that might have meaning. I think it's just an animation error.
Just a rendering thingy.
It might have just looked weird with a chunk out of it there at this angle, whatever. I think it's just an animation thing, but I do want to point out that if in the future that ever gets expounded on, and it does end up being lore relevant, like Sora's fate is tied to Kairi's, but not the other way around, that is potentially set up here. I don't think that is the meaning behind it.
I mean, if they wanted to do that probably wouldn't be a small...
that probably would be more
obvious. Yeah.
More obvious. The only thing that I am thinking is because it is very clear that one of them has a bite taken out of it and the other doesn't, there might be some merit to it.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if it was an animation thing, both of them would be not...
maybe. I mean, most of the time, you would just change out the model. You have a model that's full, you have a model that has taken a bite out of it.
Yeah, and they have the model with a bite out of it. So there's no reason to not use that model in both of the hands.
Yeah, but maybe they just forgot to change it for her or something.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I do think that this is also pre-rendered. It's not in like the high fidelity style, but I do think it's pre-rendered due to like the sunset that we saw at the beginning, like very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is pre-rendered and that was an animation error, it's also not as easy as just patching in a change because you would have to re-render the scene. And I don't think that they would really care that much about it. So I think it's an animation error, but it might not be.
Also, if you only find out about this animation error at the point that you see feedback from the community, they might just say like, leave it open. If they speculate, fine, maybe we'll do something with it. I don't know. And we'll look smart as fuck.
Yeah, so maybe not. Let's just keep that in mind going forward into like 2035 Kingdom Hearts 6.
Probably.
They might both take a bite. Maybe only Sora takes a bite. Maybe we don't know, but we'll move on.
We'll see.
Kairi says that tomorrow is going to be their toughest fight yet. But no matter what, she will be a part of his destiny. So that's why I think like they explicitly say that. So her not taking a bite wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
They share a fruit and Sora promises to keep her safe. And she's like, bitch, please, I've got a personality now. I'll be the one keeping you safe. And so we make it to the Keyblade graveyard the next morning. And of course, Master Xehanort will walk forward through a dust cloud because he's a extra motherfucker.
I am evil. I will have my
I can
evil
only enter
introduction.
through dust clouds. If there's no dust cloud, I just need to wait around the corner until there is one.
I'll just be like...
Exactly. He starts to monologue about light and darkness and the Keyblade War and will we be found worthy of the light of Kingdom Hearts upon the war's finishing?
Please tell me someone just in the middle of this whole thing just punches him in the face.
No. The good guys are really nice about it and just let him monologue. It gets much worse later on, but we'll get to that if I remember. But it's not just his usual monologue because he starts a speech, but as the speech goes on, Xemnas and Ansem appear beside him and kind of continue on the speech. So Xehanort says like 2 lines, and then Ansem appears and says the next 2 lines, and then Xemnas appears and says the next 2 lines. And we also have I don't have a screenshot of that. Young Xehanort, and all of these people are like the same person.
It's the whole Nordic band getting together.
Vanitas is also there as part of the speech for some reason, which I suppose he is also part Xehanort, maybe, but he's also like Darkness incarnate, so he might not be. I don't know. He's also there. I think that like Terra Xehanort would have made more sense, but he's used in a different way a little bit later. They tell them that before the war starts, they must break down the light and summon a metric fuck ton of heartless nobodies and unversed. That's probably why Vanitas is there, because they need a reason for there to be unversed in this fight.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the one that summons them. So we fight, like, in Kingdom Hearts 2, we had a fight against like 1,000 heartless at the same time.
Right.
This is that on steroids. So we fight a metric fuck ton of heartless, and at the end we finish them by use of magical train ride again. Because why not?
Chuka chuka murder.
Yeah. You shoot like fireworks into the heartless crowd, and the very end of it is you just crashing the train into the mob, and that kills everything.
Yeah, sure.
As the dust settles, we see Terra standing there. Ventus runs up to him, happy to finally see his last missing friend back. But Aqua senses something is maybe not quite right, and she's correct, because his hair starts to slowly turn white.
I wanted to say then his eyes start changing color, but this also works.
It's the hair, it's the eyes, it's the same. The eyes would be cliche, the hair is 1% less cliche. Yeah. He summons No Name, Xehanort's Keyblade, and fucking yeets Ventus through a nearby rock. Sora runs in to attack next, but gets casually just tossed aside. Next up is Kairi. Terra jumps in towards her, but Lee gets in the way, and this is like very blurry because this entire shot is like 3 frames long. It's
just big old motion blur.
It's big old motion blur. But he jumps in to protect Kairi and gets absolutely destroyed for it as well. Terra puts his focus back on Kairi, ready to strike, but Sora jumps back in to protect her, which, I don't know, man, maybe just pull her out of the way. Don't just hug her.
Put your keyblade in front of it or something. Don't just be like, I'll take a bullet for you, me.
He literally does a get down, Mr. President, for Kairi.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, Goofy is smart enough to jump in and shield the pair from the attack. As Terra gets knocked back into the air, Donald is charging up a fuck you spell, getting ready to actually do something. Goofy calls out for Donald not to do it, but he does it, and he fires a giant fuck-off laser.
Holy shit.
A spell called Zeta Flare, which I wrote I'll come back to in a minute, and I might. This spell makes Donald Duck the most powerful mage in Final Fantasy canon.
Damn.
This is the same spell that like a fire god character used in Final Fantasy 14 to reset the entire universe.
Oh, okay. Oh.
We'll continue with the scene in a moment. There's a video online somewhere of somebody comparing this to like human level destruction.
Yeah.
Because you have in Final Fantasy you've got Fire, Fire-Ra, and Fire-Ra, which are like Fire level 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
After that you've got the like top tier spell, which is an instant kill against like almost any enemy, except maybe bosses, and that's called Flare. This is Zeta. So you know where we're going with this, right? There's one summon in most games which can do a spell called Mega Flare, which is Flare like times 1,000,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's still just an instant kill against most things. There's a character in one of the games, which is again like a fire god or something, which does a Giga Flare, even more powerful, like world destroying. This is like, if we're going with human normal notation, we have Mega, Giga, Terra, Peta. Zeta is beyond that. So that's how powerful Donald fucking Duck is, and he still can't heal me. So fuck him. That said, though.
Also, this game just does that, and they did it before with Goofy, just being like, la 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 la, I'm a side character, and after you've been with them for like 6 years or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, also I'm the most powerful motherfucker in the whole universe.
Yeah. Slight issue there. He does fucking atomize Terra. Terra is dead. He's gone.
Yeah, that will make sense.
Yeah.
Having a universe destroying beam blasted into your face.
Yeah, like the Mega Kamehameha 2 and Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Fucking atomized. But there's a kind of a downside to using this spell, and that's Donald dies.
He's done. Oh, he died.
Yeah.
Oh.
Donald fucking Doug dies.
I mean, I would have assumed he would just be knocked out, being all like exhausted. And
No,
shit,
it's very heavily implied that this kills him.
Then
Like the way.
maybe use that on Xehanort.
Yeah, well, he uses it on Xehanort, but just like the Terra version of Xehanort,
Yeah, I mean,
which
like
arguably is
Prime.
more powerful because it's a younger body.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, so Donald is dead. Goofy and Mickey run up to him. The way Goofy screams out for Donald not to do it, very heavily implied that this is like one of those, if you use the spell, it takes all of your life force kind of deals. So first of our heroes fucking dead. Moving on. Terra gets fucking obliterated.
Mm-hmm.
Donald falls to the ground, dead. Ven and Lee are knocked out. Sora at this point is just staring around him in utter shock. They were not prepared for this. Like half the people are knocked out, one of them is already dead, and the war hasn't even really started.
We're fucked.
But just then, as they beat that one obstacle, which to be fair, Donald took them out very well, the next one spawns in. The demon side is here, bigger and more powerful than ever. Because, because yet, never mind.
No.
Riku, Sora, and Aqua are the only ones still standing to fight. Technically, Mickey is also not knocked out yet, but he's taking care of Donald at that point. They feel ready to take on the demon tide and just keep on fighting. But then we have a bit of an issue because the demon tide grows into a demon storm. A fucking typhoon of heartless and darkness.
A demonado.
Yeah, a whole ass hurricane. And Aqua just lowers her keyblades in shock, thinking, well, we can't fight this.
We're done.
This is too much. There's just three of us. And she gets fucking... You can see on the right-hand side there, there's a Heartless coming for her.
Uh-huh.
There's a wave of Heartless just coming past the screen, and when they leave, Aqua's not there anymore. She gets eaten by the demon tide. Next up, they snatch up the passed-out Ventus. It gets Kyrie and Lee, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey. I mean, Donald's already dead, so who cares? Sora reaches out to Kyrie to get her out of the grip from the Heartless, but it's no use. She gets carried away. Sora has a fucking mental breakdown, dropping his Keyblade, and
everybody dies.
Everybody is dead. Everyone except for Sora and Riku fucking dead. And here we go. His friends are literally his power, so what the fuck is he supposed to do now?
Yeah, fair enough.
He says that. My friends are my power. Without them, I don't have the strength to keep going on. Riku just says, you don't believe that. And he takes one final stand on his own with his giant car key against the oncoming wave of darkness, holding them down for just a moment until they overwhelm him too, snatching up both Riku and Sora as well.
Also, that's, even if his friends are his power, he always has a bunch of backup friends in his heart. Even though everybody around him is dead, he still has
watches hanging out in his heart.
Yeah.
So, maybe. So as the darkness wave gobbles up Sora, we see a screen. So as foretold, darkness prevailed and light expired.
All right, and we're done.
And that's the end of Kingdom Hearts 3.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I really wish they had the balls to end it like that, but they didn't. So back in the past, as you remember maybe, we occasionally throughout the game were getting into the past to this chess game. Xehanort seems to have won the chess game. But, as Ericus notes, it's my turn, isn't it? And he pulls the, obviously Sora-themed piece to his back row, much to Xehanort's annoyance. But Ericus says, come on, a game is no fun if you know where it's going. Self-aware. And as I told you, there is more to light than meets the eye, as 7 new pieces materialize behind the Sora piece.
What?
Some lights, he says, come from the past. Sora wakes up in heaven.
Sure.
But he kind of doesn't have a body.
Missing some textures, yeah.
Yeah, he's very see-through and very blue. Sora stands up and wonders where he is, as we see the title card for the world, the final world. Very distinctly different from the end of the world in Kingdom Hearts 1. This is the final world. While wandering around, Sora finds a charity from not from Dream Drop Distance, from the back cover movie.
Right, yeah.
These were given to all the Keyblade wielders in the ancient past, and it was a plot point in that movie. They'll be more relevant in the mobile game, which...
They're just like helper elves kind of motherfuckers, right? Yeah.
They're just like... they're kind of like a more personality-filled version of Navi from Legend of Zelda. We'll get more into what the charities are and how they work and whatever in the next game. Again, Kingdom Hearts 3 released about like 60-70% of the way through the mobile game story.
Yeah.
As it was coming out. So people playing this game, well, not everybody, because not everybody played the mobile game, but they really do expect you to at least be somewhat aware of the mobile game. And since we're doing it in this structure where we do like one game at a time, sometimes in 2 parts, you haven't really had any of that experience yet. So just trust me to say next episode, we're going to get more into the charities. But just suffice to say for now that it is kind of strange to see this guy here, because these guys are from the ancient past before the original Keyblade. It explains that Sora's actually been here before on his many trips to the Stations of Awakening, the hard platform.
All right.
And his trips into the realm of sleep, because sleep and death, so you have got like sleep, you've got death, and the final world is kind of like the overlapping
the overlapping in the Venn diagram.
It's kind of like limbo. It's like you're not quite dead, but you're like this close to it.
Right.
And that's exactly what my next plot point is actually. It's kind of like limbo. It's actually pretty close to the train station in the second Matrix movie.
Okay.
It's kind of like a waiting room for death.
Yeah.
And if you run around in like sleep and you go very, very deep into it, you are very close to it. Like the whole philosophy behind it is death is just a very deep sleep.
Yeah.
So Sora's like, oh, I've been here before, so I can just leave the same way I did before, right? I wasn't even aware that I've been here, but let me try that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And Sora's like, it's kind of different. Before you came here, 1, by accident, and 2, by your own choice. But now you're here because you're dead.
Wait, how the hell do you get somewhere on accident by your own choice?
Because he's moving through the final world to get into like the realm of sleep. So it's not his destination. He's just moving through it, and as such, accidentally going through it, not actually being aware of his being in the final world. Because it's not really where you're supposed to be going. But like if you mess with sleep a lot, you'll just accidentally like move through. Tangentially. But now he's here not because he's going through sleep or other people's hearts or whatever. He's here because he's just straight up dead. He's dead. So you can't go back if you're dead. We don't want zombie Sora. That's not, Disney wouldn't approve of that. You're going to stay here. But he notes that it's kind of strange that you do seem to still have some sort of form. Usually when people end up here, they first just move through into death. They don't stick around unless they like have unfinished business or something or somebody is holding them back from crossing into death. But even then, those people generally turn into like stars of light that you can see all throughout the final world as you like walk through it and you play through it. There's like these stars that you can talk to. Usually people turn into that, but Sora still has some sort of form. He doesn't have his body, but he has got some sort of form. So that must mean that maybe there's a chance for him to reconstruct his body. And as such, Sora walks through a fucking MC Escher painting, collecting fragments of himself in a very tedious but visually stunning segment of the game. You've got all these Sora clones just like flying and walking and running all over the place, and you need to like run into 200 or something of them to rebuild yourself.
Oh shit.
And if you go back afterwards and you get to 333, you get an HP upgrade.
Yay.
Which is actually kind of worth it because you're about to go through a boss rush. So as Sora puts himself together, he's back to his normal textures again. he asks Charity, hey, do you need like any help putting yourself back together? And she's like, I don't work like that, but thanks for offering. Charity is just hanging out here waiting for an old friend of him. And Sora's like, but maybe we can go look for your friend. And Charity says, it's fine. He's been away for a while and he doesn't actually remember me anymore. Sure that he's happier with his new life and it's very sad. So Sora's like, okay, if you want to stay here, you can stay here. I'm going to go back. So Sora gets ready to leave. And like, how do I get back to like the real world to save my friends? How do I do that? To which Charity just asks, are you a Keyblade wielder or not? Haven't you learned how to restore lost hearts yet? Sora asks, lost hearts? Okay, is that the same as the power of awakening? Charity says, I don't know, just fucking try it, let's see. So Sora uses his power of awakening, which he now just has on command, apparently. And Sora ends up in the same scene from before, this time from first person, where he's absolutely having a mental breakdown. We see the scenes play out the same way, Riku stopping the darkness from engulfing them for a moment, Bob Ban being overtaken, and Sora getting swallowed by the darkness again. Fuck, you're dying again. Shit. But as is Kingdom Hearts tradition at this point, instead of ending up in heaven, he ends up in a badly textured cylinder, because we do that.
Yeah.
He turns around and reaches toward the light, which, Sora, if you're trying not to die,
don't go toward the
maybe
light.
don't go toward the light. Just an idea. Lucky for Sora, though, this one doesn't lead to heaven. It just leads to Riku in Olympus Colosseum for some reason.
Sure.
Where Riku is floating, just like Sora was a moment ago, seemingly without a body, until a Heartless shows up to gather Riku's heart. This Heartless
motherfucker
is a little over-designed. Its name is the Lich.
No?
The Lich.
All right.
So if you know what a Lich is, you can kind of put things together.
Yeah.
Sora rescues Riku's heart from the Lich Heartless, using his connection to all of his friends to hop about to every single world that we've been to in the game. So he dives through those heart portal platform things, and he ends up in the world where their heart is. So this is just a reason to have a very quick back-to-back, all the worlds we've been to, just one final fight against them.
Yeah.
While we're also getting assaulted by the Lich. After you save everybody, only Kairi's heart is still missing. And young Xehanort shows up in San Francisco. Just kind of to come ahead and mock Sora, because that's what bad guys do in this series, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Saying that even after everything that happens in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, Sora's still just mindlessly jumping into the depths of sleep and into the depths of darkness. Absolutely no regard for his own. He explains that the Lich isn't just a normal Heartless. It collects hearts after the death of someone to bring them back into the darkness to Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, the design kind of gave it away. That it's
He's
just
a Grim
death.
Reaper.
It's just death.
Yeah. But by chasing what is effectively the Grim Reaper as he's guiding hearts back into Kingdom Hearts, which is just in darkness, Sora himself is chasing it deeper and deeper and deeper into darkness, much like he did in Dream Drop Distance. So Xehanort's like, okay, we've been over this twice. Last time, that was my plan. Guide you into darkness and take you over. I don't really need to take you over right now, so just stop being stupid. You're abusing the power of awakening. This is not how the power of awakening... It's the power of awakening, not the power of resurrection, okay? He explains that Sora is using the power of awakening incorrectly because, number one, he's using it on dead people, not on sleeping people. The way he says it is that the power of awakening is for traversing hearts to reach worlds. But Sora is traversing worlds to reach hearts. If you want me to explain what that sentence means, I've got some really bad news for you.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because I've heard like 10 different takes on this cutscene, and nobody knows what the fuck that's supposed to mean. Just take it as you're supposed to use it on sleeping people, not on dead people. And Sora's been using it on dead people to resurrect them, and that is against the laws of nature. Like everybody dies, you don't bring dead people back.
Just ask the genie.
I've got a theory of my own there. In Aladdin, Genie lays out the rules, saying he can't do A, B, C, or whatever. The only one he says anything differently is with dead people. He doesn't say he can't, he says he doesn't like doing it.
Right.
So, presumably he can, just like zombify.
Yeah, just nasty corpses.
Yeah. that's my pet theory about Aladdin, not Kingdom Hearts. And there's a steep price to pay for those who fuck with like nature taboos.
Yeah, as there always is.
Exactly. There's got to be some consequence to abusing a power to resurrect. On his way back to the Keyblade graveyard, though, he runs into Kairi inside of the badly textured cylinder. And they together move toward the light and get back to the Keyblade graveyard. Kairi explains that she didn't need saving, presumably because she is a princess of light. She didn't like die from the Heartless.
Right.
And her passion, her guidance, she was the one holding Sora back from dying. So she's the reason that he came back. He didn't die. So she protected him like she promised.
Yeah.
She did a thing.
Yay.
Which is more than she's done in the entire series so far. Anyway, they end up back in the Keyblade graveyard with, hey, this is a scene we have seen before.
Yeah.
This is not a mistake in my PowerPoint.
So we're going back to where we started, but we're also going back in time?
Yeah. So
because the other, when we went back before, they also were a bit further back in time, and now they're even more back in time. And
I'm not entirely sure. What seems to have happened is that when Sora died and put himself together, he went through the final world, did all that. When he got back, he seems to have traveled back a little bit to the point where before he died.
Yeah.
And then the second time around, when he dies, instead of moving to the final world, when his heart gets separated from his body, he gains the ability to time travel and save everybody.
Right. Okay.
That is how I see it. There's no real good explanation for why they are now back in time slightly.
I mean, he went back to before when he died. Now he has everyone back and went back to when before everyone died. Before Donald, who was the first one, dies.
So something like that happened. He saved all of their hearts, and as a bunch of hearts, they could time travel back into like 5 minutes ago.
Sure.
15 minutes ago, more likely, because that entire cutscene was like 10 minutes. So we see the exact same cutscene, but as Terra Xehanort goes to strike Ventus through a rock, as you do, he's blocked by the Lingering Will, who has been hanging out in the Keyblade graveyard for the past 12 years, ever since Birth by Sleep.
Who was this again?
This is Terra's willpower attached to his armor.
Oh, right, yeah.
So finally he gets a rematch against Xehanort possessing his own body. Yeah. And we have a little bit of a fight. And one fun thing is, I don't know if I have a screenshot of this. I do. Terranort gets obliterated by another fucking laser. And the fun thing is, if you put these two cutscenes side by side, Donald's Zeta Flare and this laser cannon line up exactly in the timing.
So they just took the same scene and just changed the color of the laser a bit?
No, it's an entirely like reanimated different scene.
Huh. Like
different angles, different animation, different motion. Everything is like different from the point of the Lingering Will showing up.
It's just that the laser is...
It's just the laser is apparently like a universal constant.
the laser is it's just the element of the laser has been reused and given a different color.
Maybe. I feel like there's also a different, like a significantly different laser effect. If you look at this and we try to like, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit.
Because Sora has to go through like fucking heaven. We're almost there. Everybody's dying.
Oh, there it is.
It's pretty similar, but the other laser is like wider.
Yeah, and has a bit. This has a bit rougher edges. The other one was more of a fade out.
Yeah, but I feel like that is mostly just an exposure thing. Like if you stop this down, it probably has more of a gradient as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Like this is just overexposed in the middle here.
Yeah.
But if we,
we'll be right back.
Maybe at some point.
Just need to go through heaven and defeat death and
there we go.
There we go.
So yeah, it is a pretty significantly different laser. And you can actually see Terra here.
Oh yeah.
This time he doesn't get atomized though. So this is not Zeta Flare levels, which makes sense because again, that's a spell that reset an entire universe at some point.
Yeah. And also then the one doing it would die.
Well, in the Final Fantasy instance where it resets the universe, it's done by like, again, some kind of god character. So that
someone who can actually handle that shit.
But they just like Dragon Ball Z fly off to the distance to have their fight off screen. We'll do that in the DLC. We do that fight in the DLC. A huge wave of Heartless still shows up though, just like before, but this time nobody is like dead or knocked out yet, so Sora is full of hype and runs into the battle head first, which seems like a very dumb idea to do, but sure.
Yeah.
As he jumps in though, we see a flash of light, and a person with normal hair appears.
What?
We've seen this guy before. This is Ephema from the back cover movie. He talked to like Master Ava for like a minute.
Yeah. The only
When
one.
you see his face, you might recognize him.
Yeah. The only one with normal hair. Yeah.
He looks back at Sora and is like, you seem like you could use a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Mind you, this character lived in the age of Fairy Tail, so this is like pre-Keyblade War.
Yeah.
So this is not actually him showing up. This is like his spirit or his soul or his heart or whatever you want to call it, coming out here into the future to help. So as Erica says, some light comes from them. And light coming from the past apparently means that all the Keyblades in the Keyblade graveyard reanimate themselves into a wave of fucking anime awesomeness, which sort of rides into the heart of the storm.
Sora's just surfing all the Keyblades.
Yep. Sora's just Keyblade surfing right into the darkness, and you get a million QuickTime events on the left-hand side with all the names of the players for the mobile game. Well, not the mobile game, actually. This is for the browser version of the game. So everybody who got to the Keyblade War portion of the browser game initially, they collected all those names together with the union that those players were in. As you can see, like there's a very strong preferences for the unicorn one.
Uh-huh.
And you're just mashing triangle through all of those names while Keyblades fly all over the fucking place. And it's fan service, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Dark Riku shows up after we do all that, because the Typhoon of Heartless is now gone. Terranord is now gone.
So we need the next boss
our way
fight.
through all of our baddies one at a time.
Yeah.
Kind of. He walks up, and Riku seems kind of shocked to see his seemingly younger self again. We know that there's time travel involved, so Mickey comes to the very reasonable conclusion that this is Riku from Kingdom Hearts 1, because he was possessed by Ansem, Xehanort Heartless. So this is a version of Xehanort from the past, in a way, so he's time traveled in here. Dark Riku, just seen Sora take out like a million Heartless in a moment, says, hey, maybe do that again.
That looked cool. Do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's cool. That costs a lot of the budget, but let's do it again. This is like the fourth time in a row that we're fighting a giant like sea of heart. So at this point, even Mickey's kind of getting tired of this shit, and he raises his Keyblade to use his stop magic. He's got that spell which freezes time in radius around him. But Riku stops him, saying, yeah, that doesn't seem like a great idea, because if you do that now, you're not going to have any strength for the actual fight against all these Xehanort. And just as all hope seems lost, a light comes down from the sky, and Yensid appears.
This is just all the Deus Ex Machinas all put together.
He T-poses to assert dominance and doesn't know this.
You shall not pass. Yeah.
This is such an iconic screenshot. Yensid just T-posing and splitting the monster sea.
I'm Jesus and Moses and Gandalf all put together. Yee.
Literally, yes. So finally, our heroes come face to face with the 13 Darknesses. All that was just build.
Yeah.
Now we get to the actual like Keyblade War fight. But Master Xehanort thinks, hey, we're 13, you're 7. That doesn't seem like a fun fight. So he raises a fucking maze up out of the ground, which makes me think, why is there a maze underground in the Keyblade graveyard? Because this is not just rock walls. This is very like, these are chiseled walls, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just like suspension of disbelief, gameplay purposes, having something to do between the fights, or if there is anything to this.
I mean, maybe there was some sort of civilization before it was a big old desert, and he just was like, yeet it out of the ground or something. I don't know.
That possibility exists. I'll say that in the mobile game, we also go to the Keyblade Graveyard before it was the Keyblade Graveyard, because it is the Keyblade Graveyard due to the Keyblade War. And there it is just a plain desert as well. But we could have, like, there is a possibility open here for this to be like an ancient civilization that predates even that. Just want to throw it out. I don't think it's that. I think it is just gameplay.
It's just gameplay, and we need something else than just button mashing fight scenes and shit.
Yeah. So between every single one of the fights, you have to do a little like timed puzzle to get to the next. Just like break up the monotony of the. So we do these battles in like 2 on 2, 2 on 3, 3 on 3 kind of battle. Donald and Goofy have stayed behind with Yen Sid because at this point we're like in Keyblade Town and Donald and Goofy are kind of out of their league. So instead we have people like Aqua and Ventus and Riku in our. The first one of those battles is against. I'm using the wrong mouse. The first one of the battles is against Malusha, Luxord, and Loroxine, with Xemnas just hanging out. We don't actually fight Xemnas at this point. He provides like a barrier so we can't escape, just like for story reasons. So the way that this is going to structure for a little bit here is we have a bunch of these like 3 villain or 2 villain at a time fights, and you fight them at the same time in a boss battle. But when you beat any one of them, you cut away to a cutscene of that person dying, and then the boss fight picks back up where you left off.
That's annoying.
Yeah, it kind of is. I also don't really see a better way of doing it because you, as we'll see in a moment, all of these characters get like a very individualized send-off when they die.
Yeah, they've been built up quite a bit, so it would be a shame for them to just be like, dead.
Yeah, and waiting for a cutscene to play until you've beaten all 3 of them makes a cutscene about all 3 of them at once instead of about any one of them individually.
Yeah.
And I don't think you want like 13 separate boss fights.
No.
So I think this is a decent middle ground. It's not ideal. To be honest, most of these fights aren't really like spectacular boss fights anyway. They're just 3 fucking characters styling on you, and then you just kill them at some point. The actual like big boss fights come after. There's like 3 on 3, 2 on 3 that we have here. So the first one we kill, where you can kill them in any order here.
Mm-hmm.
The first one the cutscene compilation kills is Luxord, which as he dies, he gives Sora one of his cards. This is the guy who uses cards as a weapon.
Right.
Saying it's a wild card, and it might turn the tide of battle. Sora looks at it, saying that, you know, one day, when this is all over, we should play a game again. As just guys. No light, no darkness, no stake of the world, just you and me hanging out, playing a game.
He's dying.
Well, he's a nobody, so he's going to get recompleted again.
Yeah.
We hope. So when you come back, let's just play a game. And Luxord says, I would like that very much, and fades away. Next up, we beat Loroxine, who is not happy about dying.
As you do.
She's real upset about it, saying, I lost to a bunch of losers like you, not again. Because, of course, last time she died, it was also Sora.
Yeah.
But at least she doesn't have to be Xehanort's hard tank anymore, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Sora rightly asks, why the hell would you go along with this plan anyway if you didn't want that? And she says, I was just along for the ride. Sora's along for the ride? With who? She just smiles, saying, my secrets, and fades away. Mystery.
I guess we'll get to that.
We will, but not today. Malusha, next, falls to his knees, looking down at his hands, saying, oh, now it all comes back to all his memories from, like, his life as a human. Apparently, this guy had amnesia the entire time.
Huh?
Apparently. And now his previous life is coming back to him. He looks up at Sora, saying his heart is remembering how to feel again. And now that he will be able to reclaim his purpose for being, his identity.
All right.
All thanks to Sora.
Yay.
And he also fades away. So you can see that a lot of like these bad guy death cutscenes are trying to like humanize him a little bit, because a lot of these characters are probably going to come back as good guys in the future. Even though Malusha was literally the antagonist of an entire game.
Yeah.
Somewhere deeper in the maze, Riku is fighting Riku. This cutscene is going to get wild, because I'm going to say Riku a lot. And you're going to have to just kind of bear with me. Also, Xigbar is here, but I didn't have a good screenshot of both Dark Riku and Xigbar in the same screen. And Ansem's Seeker of Darkness is doing the same thing here as Xemnas was before, just kind of hanging out, powering up his allies, hanging back. First, we beat Dark Riku to death. As he fades away, he looks up at Riku and says, you're not the real one, I'm the real one. Which confuses Riku, because he's like, real one? You're me from Kingdom Hearts 1, aren't you? And then Ghost from Replica Riku just pops out of Riku's heart. Another fucking Riku in this scene. To explain that, no, you beat Ansem and you're still here. This isn't you from the past. This is me from the past. So, Dark Riku is a time travel replica Riku. Not a time travel
actual
original Riku.
Right.
So, replica Riku says, and you beat that guy. Good on you. So he's inside of a replica body. You beat him. That leaves an empty body.
And
I
now,
could use an empty body. So he goes in and takes time travel, dark, replica, Riku, I don't know what to call him, the evil one.
the other one, yeah.
Out of the body and drags him away. Current day Riku screaming at him to go on and take the body. We've got an empty body here now. You can take it.
Yeah.
And replica Riku just looks back and says, somebody else needs it more. Riku thinks for a moment and says, you're leaving it for Namine, as replica Riku fades away. He, at some point, got implanted with a memory of saying that he would always protect Namine.
Yeah.
So now, 12 years later, everybody has even forgotten that this character existed. He pops back up just to fulfill the promise to protect Namine and keep her safe by making sure that she has a body to be put in.
All right.
And that's presumably actually the last we see of this guy. Because again, it was like 2006 was the last time this character was even shown anyway. He comes back only to kind of complete the character arc that nobody expected to have any end. But it's nice. It's nice of him to finally get that figured out and finally help Namine out. With all that done now, next up is Zigbar. We beat him, of course, and he falls to the ground, saying, that figures. If I had a Keyblade, things would be different. Sora tells him, you kind of need to be worthy to wield a Keyblade, so don't get your hopes up. Zigbar retorts that, oh, I am worthy, alright. Xehanort promised me to give his Keyblade, no name, if I helped him with his entire plan.
Sure, because evil guy promises are always kept.
Yeah, I mean, he will have the Key-Kai X-Blade,
yeah.
so he can give no name
Fair enough.
to Zigbar. They tell him it would be waste on him, and he just responds, as if, which as if kind of is his catchphrase. He says that a lot. And then teleports up to the wall of the maze, taking a few steps back and falling off the edge, which is just such an extra way to die.
So he wasn't actually dead. He was like, you can fire me, I quit.
Pretty much, yes. So he falls off the edge of the wall here. We see his weapons disappear, which were like stuck into the ground, and we move on. Next up, we see Kairi doing a thing.
Yay.
She's fighting another Keyblade wielder, a hooded figure with Sora's Keyblade. Who could that be? Lee is also here, fighting Sayax, which again, everything here is very blurry because these are very action-heavy scenes. We fight them for a bit, but we are kind of losing because Sayax is a fucking beast and in like berserk mode. So just as Sayax gets ready to strike Lee down, Xemnas teleports, saying, hey, before you kill this Lee dude, I kind of want to style him a little bit, because once upon a time, it was Axel who was tasked with taking out traitors to the organization, and now Axel is here. His betrayal outstripping everything else. Do you have any final words before you die for your superior? And Axel's like, you were never my superior. Xemnas tells him, how about the rogue pawn? Knocked out from the game early, useless and forgotten. To which Axel fucking shatters the fourth wall, saying, that's not true. I've got loads of people rooting for me. Do you have any idea how popular I am? And gets ready, trying to attack Xemnas. Xemnas just blocks the Keyblade with his bare hand and sends a blast through it, destroying it.
There you go.
Then he summons his laser dome attack from the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, where you have to like press two buttons real fast. Right. When I explained that, he does that to Axel, who doesn't have two Keyblades to protect himself, so he gets beaten to within an inch of his life. Then Sam is like, but I want to do this like close up and personal. This laser dome attack, it's good to like torture you, but I want to actually like kill you. So he does his like lightsaber thing. He's got those lightsabers. Lifts it up, strikes it down, but the hooded figure grabs it just before it lands on Axel. We hear the hooded figure speak with a familiar female voice. We need him alive. Xemnas responds that they only need his heart, not his soul, which we're not going to get into the difference between that. But they were friends, weren't they? Go on then, you kill him instead. She stands up, Axel looking up at her, asking, who are you? As she points the Keyblade. Sora walks up and pushes the Keyblade aside, telling her to not do this. And she just goes wild against Sora, who simply stands back, only blocking the attacks, telling her, it's alright, you can stop fighting now. And then, instead of Sora, we hear Roxas's voice call out the name, Shion. A tear rolls down Shion's eye and mine, and she just breaks down, clutching her head while Xemnas appears behind her, kicking her into Sora, making her hood fly back because, of course, this is Shion. You might be wondering, how the fuck is she back? We'll get to that in the DLC, because it's not explained in this. Xemnas walks up to finish off the job and kill both Shion and Sora in one fell swoop. But a bright light comes down from the sky.
Fucking Gen.
Yeah. It's not Yensid this time. As the music swells up, Axel reaches out too, suddenly remembering Shion. As the light hits the ground, it kicks up a cloud of dust. Xemnas looks up, shocked, saying, "You, it cannot be." And as the dust settles, Roxas is standing. And everybody fucking cries. With a replica body that Vexen delivered and the connection created through Sora, he was able to return and kick some fucking organization ass.
Also, just nice having those three standing.
Yeah. Now, I specifically, like, this shot is actually pretty short. I specifically went back like 3 times to get this very nice symmetrical shots of Axel on one side, Shion on the other, and Rock is like, "I'm back, bitches," with 2 keyblades.
Come at me, bruh.
And then the fight continues. And instead of having like Kairi and Axel as your party members, it's now Sora and Roxas fighting instead. And Roxas is OP. Like, you don't play as him, but just standing back and letting Roxas do the fight is like a viable strategy. He absolutely wrecks their shit.
Oh, well, with 2 keyblades and having been standing back for so long,
he's got some anger issues.
He got some pent-up rage. Yeah.
And all while this battle goes on, there's like during this cutscene, there's like a more emotional version of Roxas' theme. Then the battle starts up again, and we get like Roxas' theme music in like a battle variation.
Oh yeah.
And like, it's a good thing Roxas is so overpowered, because you're not seeing anything that's happening in the game through the fucking tears streaming out of your face at this point. Xemnas is less than pleased about this development though. So he goes ahead and grabs Kairi. She almost did a fucking thing, and now she's getting kidnapped again.
We're having another damsel in distress.
Yay. So we still beat up the other bad guy here, which is Syx. And then we have the Sora team. We've got Sora, Better Sora, and Female Sora. Man, I wish Roxas was the main character. We beat him though, and after that, Syx and Lee get to have a little heart-to-heart. Or well, Syx doesn't have a heart, but they have a little talk.
A soul-to-soul then, maybe?
Nah, fuck off. Syx says that everything he'd done so far, joining the bad guys, was just to find this mystery girl that they've been looking for. Axel was the one that went off and made other friends, and left both him and this girl behind. Maybe Syx admits he might have been a little jealous. And Axel looks surprised, like, "Wait, did you just admit that?" He's like, "Fuck you, I'm dying. If I come back, you're not getting it out of me again." Which is, like, with less swear words, like the actual line that he said. Is, "If I make it back, you're not getting it out of me again." And then he fades away. Sora goes off to look for Kairi because she's been kidnapped, and it's just kind of what Sora does, is going after Kairi, leaving our favorite trio, at least my favorite trio, alone. Lee jokes that if he had known that they would be reunited here, he would have brought some ice cream. But instead, he grabs them into a hug, and they just cry. They just reunited and all crying and happy and sad. This trio is just really... With our favorite trio reunited and Sora back on his way, we make our way to what I think is the final of these like smaller confrontations, with Ventus and Aqua fighting Terra and Vanitas. First we beat Vanitas, and as we do so, his mask starts to fall, revealing the dark Sora face that we've seen before. But now Sora's present for this and is rightfully freaked the fuck out. Because Vanitas looks exactly like him, and Vanitas explains that Vanitas is the part of Ventus that was taken away, and Sora is the piece that was needed to make him whole again. So why shouldn't they look exactly alike? That's literally what he says. Why shouldn't we look exactly the same? And everybody playing this game just sighs and says, "We accept this bullshit, don't try to justify it."
Fine.
Sora says, if that is true, then why bother siding with the bad guys? Come to the light and be a good boy with us. But Vanitas says that is not what he wants. He is darkness. They have a whole discussion about choosing who and what you are. Not just light or darkness, but being your own true self. But Vanitas just explains that he did decide who he was. and what he is dark. This is relevant for like Vanitas related stuff in phase 2.
Okay.
It might seem really out of left field why I'm like suddenly throwing in this philosophical question about like your purpose of being, and light and darkness and stuff like that. Well, light and darkness, that's nothing new. This is like central to phase 2. So that's setting up here. If you played a mobile game up to this point, this would mean a lot more.
Basically saying like they took the light part and gave that to Sora, and the dark part, that's what was left, and that became him. And then he's like, I could maybe choose to be something else, but I'm not because I need to be the bad guy.
I can't really explain it to you without the context of Union Cross, which is the mobile game.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But
then.
suffice it to say is that Vanitas very much did choose who he is, and what he is darkness.
Right.
And him looking like Sora, there's theories. I think it's just because Nomura wanted to make an edgy Sora.
Yeah.
And as I've heard it, the real reason that Vanitas looks like Sora is just because Haley Joel Osment, the voice actor, which is also the kid from The Sixth Sense, that's Sora.
No. Maybe.
I realized that like 2 weeks ago. It's really weird. He just wanted to play a villain, so he got a villain role, and that's why there's an evil Sora. That's what I heard. Kind of feel like there might not be a lot of merit to that theory, because that would involve one of the English voice actors influencing the Japanese writing style.
Yeah.
Which could be possible, because it's been stated time and time again that like the definitive version of the game is the English voiced one, but that still feels like a reach. The fact that influence would happen. Don't think too much about the Sora thing. Just remember the fact that Vanitas is like darkness incarnate, because he's the darkness that was taken out of Ventus's heart. Next up, we beat up Terra. And after they beat up Terra, while he still has white hair, so fucking dumb, Ventus and Aqua run up to him to see if he's okay. Of course, dark chains erupt out of Terra, binding all of them and Sora up in the sky, pulling them all over the place, like slamming them into the floor, into the walls, until they're barely even awake. As he lifts them up to let them fall down to their death, the dark figure swoops in to save them, which usually this dark figure is under the control of Terra, Xehanort. And some Seeker of Darkness. Why is he now suddenly working against him? He breaks the chains, grabbing Terra Xehanort fucking by the head, grasping at his bandages that cover his mouth, and pulling them off. Out of that god-awful mouth, we hear a raspy voice sounding an awful lot like Terra's voice, saying, "One day, I will set things right." And today is that fucking day.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think I talked about this before, but you might have forgotten. That dark figure has been Terra's like heartless, presumably, maybe.
Yeah.
The entire time under the control of Xehanort.
Yeah.
Because Terra was putting up a little bit too much of a fight inside of the body, so Xehanort just yeeted him out of the body into this figure that he could. So Sora shoots them both with a Keyblade beam of Keyblade magic, throwing Xehanort out of there and Terra back into the body. And Terra wakes up, seeing Aqua there, saying that you're always there guiding me back to the light. And it's because of you and Ventus that I was able to like maintain my sense of self and my direction. And I'm like, I don't know. We started this episode with Aqua being pretty dark. So
I mean, they did manage to stretch it for 10 years. That's quite a bit.
Fair enough. There is a little bit of a debate to be had here whether or not this Terra Xehanort is a time-traveling Xehanort or exists in this time period. Because we know that Master Xehanort is back in his normal old body self. So, and I think the DLC goes more into detail here. I've forgotten what they say about it. At this point, we kind of have to assume that this is time travel.
No, indeed, but because the other
so it's only been like a minute since he got possessed. But that then becomes an issue because this one can't go back to his own timeline now as Xehanort.
Yeah.
So I think the DLC explains this in a way where when they recomplete it, Xehanort was back as old self and there was just an empty Terra body there, which he put in a little bit of Xehanort into. I think that is the explanation they go with, which also doesn't make a lot of sense.
So,
but it makes more sense than a time paradox.
Well, yeah.
But that's a low bar.
Yeah. Timey-wimey stuff is never a good idea. But That does explain why we have a Terra right here, while the other Terra got a big old beam in his face.
No, that's the same one.
Okay, never mind.
Now, what happens there is he gets a beam in the face, which just like knocks him far back. He survives that.
Oh, right. Yeah, the other beam he did survive. In the first beam, he got animalized.
And then he just kind of like fights the lingering will off screen, and presumably just kind of gets away at some point. Again, we see that in the DLC, but I won't talk about that too much now. And gets to this fight where he then gets like unpossessed. The whole situation with Terra body and possession is a little bit weird. I'm not entirely sure what is the best answer here. We'll get to that maybe a bit more in the DLC. It doesn't in the end, because I feel like for the most part we're kind of done with time travel after Kingdom Hearts 3, at least backward time travel. There's like a lot of forward time travel.
That's fine.
But that's fine. That doesn't cause paradoxes. That's just like I take myself out of the equation for like a time and then I come back into existence, much like the box. So they all have a good cry as well, reunited, but at this point I am too emotionally exhausted to feel anything after the Roxas scenes, so I just don't care. And now all of these small battles, only the big baddies, and that's where we're going to take a break. It's time for the big battles. We've defeated all of the non-Nords, all of the Norded people. And now we are down to only the real Nords.
It's Nord and the Norded people. Yeah.
I like to call this one this fight where you fight against these three people at the same time. Xehanort cubed.
Yeah.
It's three Xehanorts. So these are the three big bad from Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, and Dream Drop Distance, because there was also a Xehanort there. And you're fighting all of these three, which were final bosses in and of their own right, at the same time.
Oh, that's going to be fucked.
While they are a little bit powered down, obviously, because three at the same time. They do have most of their moveset from their original fights, with like special moves and like triggered events and whatever in those fights to make them more cinematic. Those have been disabled, of course, because that wouldn't work with three of them at the same time. Aside from that, most of their original moveset is intact, and they're all coming at you at the same time while you, as Sora, Riku, and Mickey, fight these three. It's a bitch of a fight, but it is honestly like this is where the actual epic stuff begins, and it doesn't stop.
That sounds absolutely terrible. The way I play games is I put it on not on easy, but on super duper easy. All the quick time events turned off and all that stuff, just storyline.
Honestly, I think that this fight manages to do one thing very well that's really tricky to get right in game design, and that is making something feel difficult while actually being manageable or easy. Not saying this is easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it feels a lot more chaotic than it actually is. I would be very interested to see how this is actually programmed. I feel like what is happening behind the scenes is there's only one of them on you at any given time, and the others are just doing like attacks in the background to make it feel like things are happening, that they're all three there, but they're not all on you at the same time.
Just doing some random animation as if they're doing something.
Yeah, they might be attacking like Riku or Mickey, because those are also running around the arena. All while a combination of their three battle teams, an arrangement that combines those three motifs, plays in the background, which is
nice.
A absolutely beautiful mess of a song. So these three walk up for the final, pre-final battle, all while the big bad Xehanort is watching from up top, up on a rock pillar, because of course he is, showing us 9 keys, the results of the 9 clashes between light and darkness that we've had so far, all of the small battles. Only 4 to go until we get the 13 needed to make the key Kai X-Blade. I'm probably going to just start calling it the Keyblade for this portion, because I'm going to refer to it a lot. 3 of those are about to be created from the upcoming battle against Xehanort Cubed.
And then the final one is against
Master Xehanort himself. Sora says there's no way we will help you do that, as if he didn't personally go through all of the 9 fights that created these keys so far. Like, it's not even the 7 versus the 13. It's 6 plus Sora versus the 13. Sora has been in every single fight.
Yeah.
Because he's the player character, obviously.
And
But that makes that sentence like
yeah,
seem real hollow.
I'm not gonna help you do that anymore.
Like if it wasn't for Sora, none of these would have been made. So Riku chimes in that saying even if Xehanort succeeds in making the Keyblade and opening Kingdom Hearts, close it again. And Xehanort smiles, saying, "That's a nice plan if you survive that long." And the battle starts. So in this battle, we first beat young Xehanort. As he fades away, he just laughs, telling Sora that there's a high price to pay for what he has done. His journey ends here, and Sora's time in this world is already, and he fades away before he finishes that sentence. Spooky. Beating Xemnas, he remarks that his first spark of emotion he has felt in years is bubbling up, and it is loneliness.
Oh.
For this does nothing else but confirming that having a heart is just pain. And Sora agrees. Feeling pain is a human thing to do.
Yeah.
As Xemnas fades away, he says, then it must take incredible strength. And some Seeker of Darkness. This guy, because of course, everybody's been talking to Sora. This is Ansem, so he's talking to Riku, because they're a thing. Says, man, we've had a wild journey together, haven't we, boy? Riku says, it's strange, but he thinks he's going to miss Ansem. In a, yeah, you kind of fucked me up, but through all that, I have become the person that I am right now, and I'm going to miss having that around as a reminder, more or less. Ansem looks up, telling Riku that his strength is vaster than darkness, and he never really stood a chance against Riku, fading away as well. These last, like, we're trying to humanize the villains, really, like, it doesn't work for a lot of people. And I like it with like Vanitas, they really lean into it. Like, no, I'm not going to humanize. I'm darkness. Fuck you. And young Xehanort as well. It's like, I'm not going to repent. I am young Xehanort, and fuck you. It feels really weird when Xemnas and Ansem are just like being bros just before they die.
Yeah.
It like looks at a Malusha, like the minor antagonist. It's fine. Well, Malusha was the antagonist of Chain of Memories, but nobody played that. This is the big bad from Kingdom Hearts 1. That's the big bad from Kingdom Hearts 2, and now they're just suddenly like saying, "You do you, heroes. Go beat the day.
Go get it."
Like, that's weird. Anyway, with all those 3 battles done, there is now 12 keys, only 1 remaining, and Xehanort gets his Keyblade. He summons Kingdom Hearts and gets ready for the final clash between light and darkness. Sora's like, "Oh, that's not a good thing. That's bad. That's bad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it." But Xehanort floats Kairi in front of him and slashes her with his Keyblade. She turns into a crystal-like material and shatters into just countless pieces. Sora tries to attack Xehanort, but he's too late. Kairi is gone, and the final clash happens. Xehanort has 13 pieces and knocks Sora back, finally being able to... That's not what happens. To make the Keyblade, which apparently I don't have an image of yet. Both Riku and Mickey also try to stop him, as we see right here in this very epic anime screenshot with Mickey Mouse in it. Riku just gets swatted aside like he's nothing, and Mickey, in a twist of irony, actually gets stopped in time by the spell that he likes to spam all the time. Xehanort uses them on him. So Mickey's frozen in midair, and Riku is, I think, also caught in the blast for that. I don't know. And Xehanort is free to form the key, which is still looking very uncomfortable to hold. With it, Xehanort points it up to the sky and corrupts Kingdom Hearts with darkness. Just as all hope seems lost, Donald and Goofy come back. As well as the Twilight Town trio finding their way up to this final battle, and the Wayfinder trio also up here. Ventus and Roxas also give each other a look like,
what?
Wait, what? They just look over at each other, and then the cutscene just continues and goes on. They just know it's like, that's weird.
We'll get to that.
Pretty much, yeah.
This is weird. That's more important. Let's go.
We'll talk about this later. In the DLC, you do get a little bit of a conversation between the two of them. Like, hey, your name's Roxas, right? Yeah, you're pretty good with Keyblade. It's kind of cool. Just as all of these characters arrive, Riku and Mickey also unfreeze from the time magic and have come up with a plan. They figure, since Xehanort's heart at this point is just basically a time machine, because he's been hopping through time so fucking much, they can use it to send Xehanort out of here, to a place where he's, or a time where he might not be as much of a threat to the past. I think that's what they're getting at. It's not very clear. I don't know if they're planning on sending him to a different time or a different place. Because what they say is his heart transcends time and space.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if they're trying to move him through space or through time.
Well, it's the same thing.
Or both. I don't know. Their idea is, hey, he's been a problem here. If we can use his like timey-wimey, spacey-wacy hard travel powers, we can at least like neutralize him for a bit and try to figure out how the fuck to deal with this. Because
and first close the whole big old hole in the sky, and
yeah, he's effectively God at this point.
Yeah.
Because with Kingdom Hearts under his command, he can do whatever he wants. He can reshape the world however he sees fit. Mickey tells Riku and Aqua, the only two other real Keyblade Masters here, to come with him, and we three are going to face Xehanort. And Sora steps up like, fuck you are.
I'm the main character, motherfucker.
I'm the main character. I'm going to do this shit. You say it back. As he walks up to go face Xehanort, he walks up, main character. He says, what are you two fuckheads doing with me? I said I was going to do this. Why are you here? And they're like, you need us, man. Like, you need us. You're going to... No, you're not going to do this on your own.
Also,
we need some spotlight as well.
Also, I presume that Sora's the only one who remembers this because he went back to fix the whole thing. Donald is a good-ass backup to have.
Yes.
I mean, I know we're probably never going to see that again.
No, because it fucking kills him.
Yeah, but that's a good backup.
Yeah, no, you're entirely right. I would really, really like it if in like Kingdom Hearts 6 or something like that. Sora's like, hey, Donald, do that thing. And I was like, what thing? the thing you did with the laser. I never did that.
How do you know?
How do you know I can do that? I don't even know that I can do that. Donald and Goofy this time insist on coming with him. They got left out when Sora went into the Realm of Darkness. Like, you're not doing that again. We're coming with you.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I guess I'll share the spotlight. Fuck you guys.
Fine.
So they all shoot their big old laser beams at Kingdom Hearts, trying to hold back the darkness, which, judging by this screenshot, is not working very well.
Yeah.
And Sora shoots his laser beam through Xehanort, opening up a portal that drags both Xehanort and Sora, Donald, and Goofy through it to another place,
somewhere,
sometime.
Yeah.
When Sora opens his eyes, he finds himself in a familiar-looking city from the start of the game.
Uh-huh.
As he walks around, he catches glimpses of Xehanort walking through the streets, but in a way like where he looks to the right and he sees him just round in the corner, and then looking to the left and there's also a Xehanort there, and then looking up ahead and there's also a Xehanort there.
And then he sees the Xehanort and then the bus comes by and he's gone.
Effectively, that's kind of the vibe we're going for here. Like, Xehanort is everywhere at the same time.
Yeah.
Always everywhere, whatever the movie is called.
Everywhere all at once?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
With less multiverse, so far at least. As we walk through, we see Xehanort, and Xehanort, all these visions of him glitch out and shift into wearing this evil-looking armor.
Oh, damn.
Like, at this point, how does Xehanort think he's the good guy? Like, that does...
This is some Sauron-looking shit.
I had a thought, like, last night when I was preparing this final part of the presentation, because we were going to record this today, and I came up with a rule a while ago on judging how, like, relatable and good a villain is in a story. And I think it holds up pretty well. And that is, can you imagine them having dinner? Can you imagine Thanos having dinner?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Voldemort having dinner?
Not really.
Exactly. Can you imagine Xehanort having dinner?
Fuck no.
No. As much as I like Xehanort being over the top and campy, and he's too over the top and as such not human. Like, the idea that people like Voldemort also need to have dinner and like take a shit afterward is just so far out of reach that it doesn't feel realistic. Well, people like, again, Thanos is a great example of a good villain. You can imagine him like sitting down and having a meal.
Well, you actually see him do that a few times.
Do you?
Not a full meal, but at least eating something.
I don't remember.
In
Endgame at the start, when he's cooking.
Yeah, that, and in the first one of those two. Infinity War. When he's talking to Gamora, he presents some food to Gamora.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, okay, in this case, we literally do see him eat something, but it's very easy to imagine him at like a dinner table, just being like, still his arrogant, like, idiotic self, but like while he's having a meal. And like I can't imagine, again, I do think, coming back to Voldemort, because he's so over the top evil, it's just, Voldemort, for my purposes, sustains himself on magic. He doesn't eat.
Yeah.
And Xehanort falls well into the camp of, I can't imagine him doing day-to-day things. Like, I don't think Xehanort brushes his teeth.
How the hell are you going to eat through this?
That also. But as much as I love Lord of the Rings, Sauron falls within that camp for me too. I don't think Sauron is a great villain.
Well,
Well, he's a great, like, opposing force.
Yeah. The good thing about Sauron is he's mostly in the background, just plotting and being evil, an evil presence.
In Sauron's defense, he doesn't have
a
a mouth to eat with,
well,
so he's only an eye.
not anymore.
Well, yeah.
He's just the evil, overall evil presence, and letting his smaller minions do the actual shit.
Yeah, but within Lord of the Rings, and we should get back on track here in a moment. Within Lord of the Rings, like, maybe he's not an antagonist, but like Gollum is very much also an opposing force, and in some way you could say he's a helpful antagonist.
Yeah.
I can, and I'm sure that we see it in the movies and probably in the books, I can very much imagine him just like hanging out, having a meal.
Well, he's not really having a meal. He just yoinks
Eating
a fish
fish,
out of the river and being like, nyam, 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 nyam.
But like, he exists outside of just being evil. He has to do like
exists
bodily upkeep.
and he exists and just is evil, but
this other example is bad because Gollum definitely doesn't take showers, but like neither does Voldemort probably.
No.
Again, Thanos, I don't know if he takes showers, but he probably like washes up.
Well, he wakes up in water at one point, but
let's keep moving.
Yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting little test to do on villains.
Yeah.
Like, can you see them doing day-to-day stuff, brushing their teeth? Anyway, we have this evil-looking armor, and now the real final battle starts against 13 versions of this Edgelord Xehanort.
Wait, can you go back one? That zipper doesn't work.
Yeah.
The pull thingy is a bit down, and then...
I think this is the same as the organization robes, where there's a zipper that goes two ways. Because I think there's two pulls on it.
No, that's just... There's one pull with the thingy on it.
Oh my god.
To hold on.
Maybe, yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah, no,
that's just a broken zipper.
Yeah, that's it's symbolic of the way Xehanort's mind is broke. I don't know.
Sure.
There's 13 of them and you fight them all at the same time. And it's kind of funny because all these versions still have, like, these are the 13 organization members that you just killed. So there's like Vanitas and Terra and whatever. They still have the weapons that the original, like, bodies had, but that's the only way to tell them apart. So you've got this like guy with suddenly like Psyx's fucking claymore weapon and a couple of different keyblades hanging around, all within these bodies, and again fighting 13 of them at the same time.
Those are some smashing heals, by the way.
Yeah, they probably could like take an eye out with this.
Oh yeah,
definitely. After beating all those, though, we finally walk up to the real Xehanort, who just wonders.
Looking smirky as fuck.
Yeah. Well, before we see this, he's just like staring into the middle distance. He hasn't noticed Sora yet, and he's just murmuring to himself, of all the places to be sent, why here? And then he notices Sora and he does this fucking look, which is not weird at all.
Nah.
He welcomes them to the town that was once the seat of all the Keyblade wielders' power. The nexus from which all other worlds spring. Scala at Kylum. Which is Latin for stairway to heaven. Or stairway to the sky. Something like that. Because of course it needs to be Latin.
Yeah, some Asher looking bullshit.
Yeah. So this is where Xehanort not necessarily grew up, because we know that he was born on the Destiny Islands.
Right.
For now. But this is where Xehanort trained to be a Keyblade wielder, eventually became a master and whatever. So this is where he spent like the majority of his life, or at least his youth. He absorbs all of the phantom edgelords we just talked about and becomes the ultimate edgelord.
Jesus Christ.
There's a joke here that the Kingdom Hearts community likes to make, because in Kingdom Hearts 1, in the final fight against Ansem, at some point he turns into a boat. I've shown you that.
Oh,
little flash boat. Kingdom Hearts 2, the final fight against Xemnas, he turns into a dragon, and then that dragon turns into a boat.
Right.
In Kingdom Hearts 3, you fight against Xehanort, and he turns into a goat. It's kind of funny because his eyes aren't up here. Like, we get a close-up, his eyes are here. This is just extra stuff to make him look satanic.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the last one was kind of obvious. Like, if you grow horns, you're probably the bad guy. If you look like a demon goat, like literally the embodiment of the devil, yeah, you're probably the bad guy.
Yeah. No, this is like Xehanort's always had like this whole satanic thing going on with him, but like this is very explicit.
Yeah.
It is not just a goat skull. This is like with those horns, that is like specifically
This is just the devil.
Satanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently this fight takes place in the fucking mirror dimension or something, because Xehanort starts to fold the town in upon itself. Up is down is up, walls are the floor is walls.
So he saw Inception?
Yeah, you could also call it Inception. The way it shows, it is much closer to the way you see the mirror dimension in Doctor Strange, where like matter is folding in on itself. But it could go either way.
When was this released?
2018, so well after Doctor Strange.
And Inception.
Well after Inception as well. This is just generally a thing that like fiction does, of course.
Yeah, that's true.
With like impossible spaces and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. Throughout the fight, the arena changes all the time. At one point, you even go underwater. And I chose this screenshot very specifically because of the background.
Right.
I wonder if you can pick up... You have the information. Whether you remember it is a second thing. But you have gotten the information to recognize what this is. At the same time, I've never seen anybody recognize it from this screenshot before they knew. While you do that, I'm going to scroll down a little in my script.
It's not the castle from...
It is a castle.
Well, yeah, I mean... Maleficent's? No.
There's a lot of castles in this series, so I feel safe letting you guess because
it's not,
even if you make a couple of wrong guesses, you're not even going to get close to it.
It's not Castle Oblivion. That's way weirder.
Yeah, and that's also Castle Oblivion is now turned back into Land of Departure, which is also not what this is.
Yeah, I'm thinking what castle is split in two like this?
There was one castle with an opening going down the middle and like a clock tower bell, which you can just barely make out here, up on the top. We'll get to it in some other game. There will be a future game which explains this in much more detail.
All right.
This is just a first glimpse for those who, like, mind you, this is in the middle of a boss fight. So for the most part, you don't have time to be staring at this.
Yeah.
So just for those who picked it up, could have made a connection a little bit earlier than future games confirm. You fight him again up on the surface, but this time everything is destroyed. And again, matter perspective is weird. But Xehanort, beaten, but not yet dead, goes up to the top of the clock tower. As you can see, things are kind of fucked down here. Ready for them. There, he says to Sora that it was foolish to try to contain him here, and it's not going to work. There is one sky, one death, and he summons Kingdom Hearts. Now, fighting with the Keyblade, because he'd been using his own Keyblade for this entire fight so far.
Right.
Now he's fighting with the Keyblade, using more power from Kingdom Hearts or some stuff like that. Near the end of the fight, Xehanort pulls a little trick and pulls all of Sora's darkness out up to the surface. This is something that's a game mechanic, so I've not really talked about it. During Kingdom Hearts 2, you have like form changes. One where you get like 2 Keyblades and you can't use magic anymore, but you do a shit ton of melee damage. One where you can't hit anything anymore, but your magic does more damage, and a couple of other ones. If you abuse that mechanic and you use those form changes a lot, there's also a counter to that. Sometimes you'll randomly go into something called anti-form.
Right.
Where you get stuck in that form until your timer runs out. And during that, you don't have Donald or Goofy, and you can't heal.
Oh, shit.
You do a shit ton of damage. It's offensively very powerful, but you can't heal. Kingdom Hearts 3 has something like that as well. Here it's called anti-form. And it works a little bit differently. Instead of being a punishment for using form changes too much, Kingdom Hearts 3 also has form changes with the Keyblades. But here it is kind of like a safety net. So if you're about to die, sometimes you get like a reaction command, quick time event pop up for anti-form, and you get fully healed. You go into anti-form, So it's kind of like it saves your life,
Mm-hmm.
but now you're stuck in that until, again, your time runs out and you can't heal during it. Except that during the normal gameplay, you can just mash through a couple of triangle prompts and you force yourself out of it. There's like 3 stages to it. Every time you use it, your current HP halves, but your MP also gets restored. So what you usually end up doing is when you're almost dead, you use anti-form. You try to maybe get in a little bit of extra damage because it's offensively very strong. And then when you're like, okay, I want to go out of this, you just mash the triangle button 3 times in a row. It does like 50%, 50%, 50%. So you end up at almost dead again. But at that point, your MP is recharged and you can use healing again. That's how the game mechanic works usually. Here, you can't skip the way out of it.
Oh,
you're stuck in it. So Xehanort's like, you light boy? I don't think so. You're a dark boy. And you have to actually like beat your way through a portion of the Xehanort fight without being able to heal.
that sucks.
It's actually fun. There is a like harder super boss version of the Xehanort fight in the DLC where he does something much worse. There he has an attack which lowers your max HP.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, I don't like that mechanic at all.
Yeah.
There's like 3 fights back to back. There's like super bosses of all the organization members, including Xion. Xion has that ability as well. For Xion, it makes a certain amount of sense because she's partly Sora.
Right.
So saying that, hey, I'm taking away some of your like essence, and I think she even heals from it. Xehanort, I mean, I suppose he has the key later. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. After that, there's one more fight, which I'm not going to tell you who or what it is, which also has that mechanic. It's the only fight in the entire series that to this date I have not beaten.
Oh shit.
It's a bullshit fight. I hate it. Because it also uses that mechanic, and I don't like that mechanic. Because within like a few minutes, you're at 1 HP.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't get over 1 HP anymore. It's bullshit. Anyway, you power through this, you turn back into your normal self, and then Xehanort's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to shoot you with a laser. And the laser connects. We get the game over screen. But we don't see the try again, continue, and quit buttons. Over in the distance, we hear a sound. Donald and Goofy are calling out to Sora. Fun fact. If you play on a PlayStation 4, the sound of Donald and Goofy calling out to Sora actually comes through the speakers on your controller.
Nice.
We see a heartbeat. We hear, but also like visually see like a visual effect of a heartbeat. And suddenly Sora is back, being held by both Donald and Goofy to hold back the fucking giant laser beam that Xehanort is shooting at them, overpowering it with her own laser beam of friendship, which is different from Zeta Flare, and hitting Xehanort straight in the face with it, finally beating.
Wait, so in
the
the
power
end,
of friendship.
In the end, it's Donald and Goofy who defeat him?
Together with Sora.
All right.
Sora gets absolutely fuck-faced and through the power of friendship manages not to die somehow. And then the 3 of them together, you get another one of those triangle prompts, which were very prevalent in Kingdom Hearts 2. 3 didn't have them as much. These final fights really put a lot of them back in.
Yeah.
Called Trinity. And Trinity in all 3 of the main games is a move that Donald, Goofy, and Sora do together. And it's usually the most powerful move in the game.
Right.
And they do that here. So it's a team attack from all 3 of them together, swirling together to beat Xehanort. So
they combine the streams and big old boom.
Yeah. Pretty much that. Xehanort is defeated, but says Sora is too late anyway. A purge is coming. The world will be returned to darkness. He says that in the beginning there was only, and from that darkness came the light. And from the light came the people, and the people had hearts. But in those hearts evil grew, creating more darkness and spreading it throughout the world, bringing the worlds to ruin and utter chaos. With the light of Kingdom Hearts, Xehanort can rebuild the world. Sora breaks in, saying, that's not your decision to make. Xehanort says, that fair enough, but somebody has to stand up and make a decision. Somebody has to lead the world and make sure that the weak don't succumb to that darkness. Somebody needs to dictate their death. Sora says, that may be so, but that ain't you, buddy. A real leader knows that they can't control that. Xehanort smiles, saying, Sora reminds him of an old friend. And then a bunch of people show up. Terra walks up to Xehanort, saying, as I told you, there is more to light than meets the eye. Xehanort, initially taken aback, watches as Master Ericus force ghosts his way outside of Terra's heart, where he's been hiding this entire time. Because people are always inside other people in this series.
Yeah. I mean, you've got series in which, when someone dies, they're going to come back. And this has a little bit of that.
A little bit.
But, in this case, it's mostly like, if somebody dies, they probably hiding away somewhere in someone's heart.
Yeah.
Just to fuck around with shit.
You might regret saying that in a minute.
Oh, God.
Anyway, Master Ericus is here. In this model, his face is very white for some reason, and his mustache is still a texture.
Yeah.
I don't like this model for him.
No.
I get it's only for this cutscene, so they probably didn't spend a lot of time on it. It doesn't look. He says, walking up to Xehanort, pushing the Keyblade aside, putting his hand on Xehanort's shoulder, checkmate. Flashing back to their game as kids.
Which isn't chess, but it's still checkmate.
I was going to make this point, but you were there before me. He says checkmate.
It
but
specifically
very much
wasn't
isn't
chess.
Which is, we talked about extensively in the last part, annoys me to no end. The fact that, like, especially with also Ericus doing the thing where he pulls like the Sora piece back to his back row, and then the other pieces show up. How much more like impactful would that have been if that was like a pawn making its way to the other side of the chessboard and turning into a queen?
Yeah.
Because that's a rule we actually fucking understand and can see the significance behind. Like Sora somehow like evolving into this more powerful force of light. But no, this is not chess. But apparently it still has a checkmate, so who fucking cares? Xehanort in this flashback though admits that he is lost. And Ericus says, you never admit it when you lose, to which Xehanort just simply shrugs it off, saying, it's because I never lose. Xehanort muses that he might not make it as far in life as Ericus, noting that if the world needs a defender, if they need a hero, they will be looking toward Ericus, not him. But even so, they'll always be there for each other as friends. And then I want you to remember the one scene in Birth by Sleep where Xehanort Darkness blasts Ericus in the face over a disagreement to do with genocide. Always the best of friends.
Yeah.
Back in the present, Xehanort hands the Keyblade to Sora, telling him, very well done. Here, I again get quite annoyed, because this was the perfect chance for Xehanort to say, very well done, Master Sora, and naming a Keyblade Master. Because what this boy has just done is way more than hitting a couple of light balls,
oh, yeah,
or whatever the fuck Riku did in Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
So why is this boy not a Keyblade Master yet? This was the perfect moment to do it. Like, it would be subversive. It's Xehanort naming him a master and not Yen Sid or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would also end Xehanort's character arc with a satisfying, albeit sudden, change of heart.
Yeah.
It would improve it, in my opinion. But maybe Sora's Keyblade Master naming will be happening in like Kingdom Hearts 4 and it will be even more impactful, whatever.
Who the fuck knows? But
I feel like he's never going to get that title.
Well, probably. Giving someone the most powerful thing in the whole universe, like, okay, well done, you've earned this. And then not being a master or a super master or whatever. It's a bit weird. It's
I know you're not like very big on Star Wars, but it's giving me very like big. How can you be in the council but not be a master? It's unfair. It's like, how can you have the Keyblade but not be a master? For like Star Wars people in the audience, will hopefully appreciate that. One day we'll do Star Wars. We have so much to do. Ericus says his final goodbyes though to his students, telling Ventus, sorry for everything I put you through. Aqua, sorry for all the burdens that I thrust upon you. Terra, take care of the others.
Fucking hell.
You see why I had to hold back my laughter when you couldn't remember Terra at the start here. It's exactly what Ericus does. It's really kind of like, it's very sad, like, apologizing to the two people he fucked over, but he also fucked over Terra real bad.
Big time.
It's supposed to show that he like sees Terra as an equal and he trusts Terra with like keeping the other two safe.
Sure. But
it comes across as, I'm so sorry to the two of you. Who are you again?
Did you get through the exam? Oh, wait, no, you didn't.
No, you failed, didn't you? Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah, I remember that because I failed you. Yeah. You got possessed by darkness. Yeah, that's my fault. Fuck off.
I mean, that was just his doing, but I failed you for that nonetheless.
Yeah, no.
And then you came fucked up and possessed by him and then
As
became a big
always-
old monster and yeah.
As always, just fuck Eric because I don't like it.
Yep.
And you will note that in back cover, we were also just like not huge fans of the Keyblade Masters there because they're also incompetent. In the next game, we're going to talk more about Keyblade Masters, and you will see there's a little bit of a pattern going on with Keyblade Masters just being terrible people.
Well, in that case, maybe it's a good thing that Sora isn't the master.
Yeah, but Riku is.
No, fair point.
But then again, like he's pretty much the exception. Well, also Aqua. Aqua's also a good person if she's not evil. But Aqua and Riku are like the only two good ones. I don't even think Mickey is really a good person.
No, oh fuck no.
As they finish up here, saying their goodbyes, Ericus walks up to Xehanort, both of them shifting off into their young forms and rising up to heaven or something. Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, he just tried to murder the whole world, but
Let's go to heaven.
that's giving me Jesus goodbye, whatever.
I don't feel like... I mean, I've been calling the Realm of Darkness like hell. That's a very like Judeo-Christian reading of the lore. In that way, you could say that Realm of Darkness is hell, Kingdom Hearts is heaven.
Yeah.
That's the way like we project our morality onto like a system that doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, true.
It's more like when something dies, like when you die, your heart just rejoins the collective in Kingdom Hearts. So that's presumably what's happening here. They're just rejoining, like fading away into like the ether universe, whatever you want to call it. So there's no like heaven or afterlife. The best you get is the final world, which I also called heaven before. It's not. It's a waiting point. If you go through there, it's not like you end up in an afterlife, usually. We'll get to that. What more so happens, I believe, is you just like get reincarnated, or you just like your heart energy rejoins Kingdom Hearts and like individuality goes away and you become part of the Force. Again, it's very much Jedi stuff.
Yep.
Which, if we ever do Star Wars, all of these comparisons make a lot more sense. Mickey says, also, everybody's back in the Keyblade graveyard.
Yeah.
Because Sora uses the Keyblade to close Kingdom Hearts and bring everybody back into the real world / timeline / just back to the Keyblade graveyard. Still no idea where Scala at Kylum actually exists.
Whatever.
I will tell you, though, that it is a real existing world, like just in the current timeline. I don't know if they just moved to where Scala is, or if they like moved to the past in that world, but it is also just a world that's out there. Because Xehanort grew up there. Mickey says, finally, it's over. And Sora says, no, it's not. We still don't have Kairi back. His adventure started the day they got separated, and since then, they've had little to no time together. Every time they're together, one of them slips away. His friends tell him that we'll find a way to get her back, but he says, no, I know what I have to do. Mickey warns him that you shouldn't use the power of awakening to wake up dead people. He's been over it. It's for sleeping people, not dead people. Don't do this. It's a bad idea. But Riku pulls Mickey back, saying, Sora's made up his mind. Whatever we say, it's not going to matter. Just let him go.
Sora wants to get laid. Fuck off.
Exactly. He finally got that Palpul fruit, and now he wants a piece of that
Other fruit.
lacking.
The other fruit.
Yeah. He said Palpul fruit, now he wants the forbidden fruit. He points off his Keyblade into the sky, making up a portal, embarking on his next big adventure. And the credits roll. But we have scenes during the credits. We don't just have post-credit scenes. We have
mid-credits?
Not even mid-credits, just during credit scenes. Oh. We start off with the Wayfinder trio here, finally being able to go back home and have a funeral for their master. When we leave, though, we notice a Chirity peeking around the corner at Ven, who's like, hey, come and have a hug. I don't know who the fuck you are, but I like you.
You look cuddly. Come here.
And now they're friends, apparently.
Alrighty.
Whatever the fuck that might mean.
Sure.
Maybe we'll get to it. The Twilight Zone trio is sitting up on a clock tower because, again, they have no sense of self...
Preservation.
Thank you for the word. It's been a long day.
Having ice cream?
Having ice cream. But also, Isa is here.
Oh, what?
Because he's now a friend.
Okay. And having
Ice cream.
ice cream also, yes, but
And a weird jacket.
yeah, it's kind of a mix between like some sort of trainer and the dark leather coats that they
Yeah.
have.
You can also see that like Axel has new clothes that like kind of mirror that, and Shion also has clothes that are like more girly, but very much kind of still have the vibe of those dark coats, because it would be really weird to see them at this point in something that is significantly different.
That would be awesome to just see Shion in something pink or whatever.
Yeah. Well, at that point, she just literally is Kairi.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter because Kairi's fucking dead. So there's a spot open in the roster.
Sure, we have found her. Yeah, same person. Yep.
We found her. You got to wear black again. Anyway, so Aiza is here now, and this is what I mean with they try to humanize all of the organization members because a lot of them are going to be good guys, but this is just really jarring. Also, the rest of the Twilight Town kids are also here. This clock tower is getting crowded as fuck.
Yeah, the bad place to have a rave, but you know, you do you. Also, they never knew them.
Data versions of them knew Roxas.
Right, but
and they've been trying to like look into Ansem's computer to try help get Roxas back, which they feel like they might know him. But yeah, no, they never knew any of these guys. They have like another version of them has a connection to Roxas. Shion, up until like a few days ago, nobody remembered that he existed. Axel, Lee, whatever you want to call him, never interacted with any of these kids. And Aiza, I don't think has ever been inside this world before this moment. Well, he was in Kingdom Hearts 2 at some point, but as a villain.
Yeah.
So them showing up here, again, very jarring, but it's kind of just, Roxas remembers these kids as his friend.
Yeah.
So it's cathartic for Roxas to get his moment with like both of his friends groups all together. When you think about it, it doesn't make sense.
No, just don't.
We've been doing this for a year. I would have expected by this point.
If you go back to the previous image, it would be nice.
He doesn't have yellow eyes anymore.
Yeah. With this, it would be nice if he had 3 ice creams. Just give them the ice cream, like, you know, this is your thing. I'll be around. See you.
Instead of 4 and inserting himself into the friendship. No, I 100% agree with you. Just like offering them a peace offering, because we know that ice cream is like symbolic of friendship at this point. Or if you listen to this podcast, it's symbolic of something entirely different. Just offering them those ice creams and letting that relationship slowly heal up instead of just like, hey, I'm a good guy now.
Yeah. Shuffle, let me in between.
Like there's one screenshot in a moment here where we'll get back to this thought as well, because it's really jarring for this guy to show up. Because next up, that's the wrong direction. Apparently I don't have a screenshot of that. Sure. In Radiant Garden, I forgot to add a screenshot, or maybe these are the wrong way around. We'll see. Where Naminé is being put into the replica body. So Naminé is now also back as her own person. Riku shows up with the gunship to take her to Destiny Islands, where I suppose that's her home now. She doesn't really have a home because she popped into existence at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah.
Then spent some time in Castle Oblivion, which A, doesn't exist anymore, and B, is probably kind of traumatic for her.
Yeah.
But she's a version of Kairi, so she just goes to the Destinies, presumably, to live there.
Sure.
And then we have a beach party on the Destiny Islands with all of our heroes there, but also Aiza is here, which is even more jarring because he's frisbeeing with Axel. Anyway, they're having a beach party. Literally everybody is there. The Twilight Town kids, Roxas and the gang, Mickey Mouse, the Birth by Sleep trio is here. Literally everybody. The beach is very crowded.
Except for Sora. And then.
Well, they look over, and in the distance, they see Sora and Kairi sitting on a palpu fruit tree. You want to know more?
Yes.
Camera has a close-up. They're holding hands. Finally together.
Is Sora finally going to get some ice cream?
Kairi sheds a single tear down her face, and Sora slowly fades away.
What?
And that is the actual end of Kingdom Hearts 3.
God damn it.
Kairi's back.
But Sora ain't.
But Sora presumably got her back at the cost of his own life.
Well, he's the main character, so he's going to be back.
He's going to be back, yeah. I mean, in what way, shape, or form is the question. but he's gonna be back. When and how is the question. But as you could see, this was the during credit scenes. We have a post-credit scene. After the Keyblade War finishes, one final Keyblade lands in the crossroads of the Keyblade graveyard. A hand picks it up, saying, finally, back where it belongs. As from each direction, the figure is approached by the foretellers from the movie. But you might recall there's 5 foretellers, and this is just 4 of them. We're missing one.
The 5th one was sent on his way with the box.
No, right? There's 6 apprentices. 5 of them were foretellers.
Right, yeah.
So we've got Ira. I'll just point them out. Ira over here. Assad over here. Envy over there. And then we've got Gula over here. We only see him from the back of them. And Luciu was the one that was sent out with the Keyblade and the box to watch over. And then there was also Ava, which had the job of collecting the talented Keyblade wielders to make sure there's a lineage of Keyblade wielders after the war.
Yeah.
The Dandelions, as they were called. Ira asks, did you summon us back? Is that you, Luciu? The rogue figure reaches up and takes down his hood, saying, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
What?
This is Luciu.
What?
He explains that some time ago, I had to discard my old body, and he's been body hopping his way throughout the entirety of history up until this point. So, potentially millions of years of hopping from one vessel to the next, to the next, to the next, up until sometime before Birth by Sleep started, he came across Braig. And I'm like, he seems pretty interesting here. He's in close proximity to Xehanort, and I'm going to just insert myself here. So, we've never seen Braig or Zigbar. It's been Luciu the entire time. From the very start. And this is one of the few reveals in the series that took me by surprise.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Terra is a dark figure, I figured. There was a whole period of time where it wasn't confirmed that Sora wasn't the chosen wielder of the Keyblade, but it was actually Riku, which was confirmed in like Birth by Sleep with or Dream Drop Distance. Most people figured that out ahead of time.
Yeah.
From like context clues. This is a reveal that I've seen very few people predict. And going back, there's a lot of scenes that make so much more sense in context here. Remember in Kingdom Hearts 2 when Zigbar said to Sora when they met for the first time, you're not half the heroes the others were.
Right.
You think he's referring to Terra Ventus and Aqua.
Yeah.
He very well could have been referring to Ancient Keyblade Wheel.
Yeah.
In the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts Code, he's like, this is all about the Ancient Keyblade War, right? I don't really care about that. I've got my own plans. And you're like, what are your own plans? Please tell me about. Well, here we go.
Yeah.
He's been a very important character the entire time. So they ask him, okay, so why is Ava not here? If we're all back, why isn't she? Luciu, Zigbar, I'm going to call him Luciu, says that Ava had her own mission and she carried it out. Assad asks Luciu, okay, but what was your role in this whole plan from the Master? Luciu looks down at the box saying, I hope you like long stories. Also, Peter and Maleficent are here at a distance.
They finally found the box.
They found the box, but there's a lot of people around now. So Maleficent's like, we found the box, we'll keep an eye on it. Doesn't seem like the time to go get it. I would also like to point out, knowing the geography of the Keyblade graveyard, there's no hill for them to stand on here. Because this is a like flat wasteland with a lot of Keyblades embedded into the ground. This angle doesn't make sense.
Zigbar had a few pillars to stand on, right? Maybe a few of those are still around.
Could be.
Or, well, Maleficent is a witch, so she could just
they
be
could
flying.
very well just be floating.
Which wouldn't be very you know,
I mean, at this distance, they definitely can tell that there's a witch and a fucking cat man.
Yeah,
watching them.
A giant fucking cat man.
Especially since, like,
they're standing in a circle. They're looking in all directions.
Yeah, one of them's got a notice, and like, okay, these guys just came back from presumably
something.
I don't know where they came from, where they went. Like, I literally don't know what happens here, but they're back. So maybe they're a little groggy. Luciu is presumably, maybe other than the Master of Masters himself, at this point the most powerful character in the universe, because he's been alive and presumably like getting stronger throughout and like the entire history of the universe. So surely he would like have some like situational awareness about who is around, especially if they're like dark people.
Yeah.
Back in the past, because no, we're not done yet.
Yes.
Xehanort and Ericus are just hanging out. They're just chilling. When Ericus pulls out a chess piece, saying he's heard of a new game. Again, fucking self-aware. It's called Kingdom Hearts 4. No. He hands 7 dark pieces to Xehanort. It's kind of hard to see in this screenshot, but the icons on top of this one are different from the ones they were playing with before. These are very clearly the symbols of the 5 foretellers, the Master of Masters, and Lucio. So that's 7. And he slams down his own piece, saying, "Just watch." And we can assume like that own piece is also either it is Sora versus the 7 that we see here, or a lot of people think that phase 2 is going to be reversed. It's going to be 7 darkness, 13 light. Because at this point, we've got a lot of light people.
Yeah.
The only question is, does that mean that all of the like ancient Keyblade Masters are darkness? We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And now this is that's the end of my slideshow. This is really the end. So let's go back to like the Lucio reveal, just because like that back to back with Sora fucking dying kind of broke your mind.
Yeah.
We've got some reports, and then we're finally done with phase 1.
All right.
And these reports, honestly, like I know we've slogged through the reports before. These reports are less so explaining what the fuck just happened and more information for going forward. So you could argue that the reports, like you unlocked them post-game after all of this happens. You could argue that this is the first days of phase 2. And if anybody wants to not argue that fact, go fuck yourself. I don't feel like explaining myself. They're also shorter than in previous games.
Good.
They all fit in like 1 page on screen. Secret Report 1, Recollection by Unknown. Am I alive? I awoke in a cell, alone until a researcher came with their tests, prodding me to uncover my identity. I had no answer to offer them. 4 friends and a key. That's the sum total of my memory. I could not even really recall my name. I was simply called X there in the laboratory. My solace was the time spent talking to 2 boys who came to visit me from time to time. One day,
this is the girl.
This is the girl.
Yeah.
Excellently, yes. But one day, we know she disappeared. A man came to take me from my prison. I could not see him for the darkness, save for that he wore an eye patch.
Hey.
Even years on, I feel no closer to understanding who or what I am. May my heart be my guiding key. So that is the girl. That is that is an important storyline going forward, clearly.
Yeah.
I am reasonably confident that I know who this is, but this has nowhere been explicitly... Like, this could just still be a new character that we don't know.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 characters that could potentially be it. One of them you know, one of them you don't. Anyway, Secret Report 2. See? There's a much shorter.
Yeah.
The Mark of Mastery Journal by Xehanort. Some days have passed since I set off on my journey to prepare for the Mark of Mastery examination. So this is young Xehanort in his own time.
Mm-hmm.
Eric is asked for to leave to undertake this same pilgrimage. But apparently I am the first to tour the worlds written off in the old fairy tale. Until a few years ago, I'd only known my own world, a speck of land surrounded by sea, Destiny Islands.
Mm-hmm.
But how I'd dreamed of, yearned of a world beyond. And granted guidance from the future, I left that nest behind. As I treaded my path to my master's side, I came in contact with darkness in many forms. I knew even then, as instinct, terrifying as its power was, I could harness it, master it. Ericus is a blue blood, descendant from the very first Keyblade Masters from the Age of Fairy Tale. I did not come to indulge in this bullshit. I will be his peer, his equal. And to do that, I must learn to wield the power born from both darkness and light in proper balance. So Ericus is effectively royalty, which explains why he's a dick.
Yeah.
Secret Report 3, Experiments of the Heart. Notes on Subject X, Excerpt 1 by Xehanort. This is Xehanort after possessing Terra, after losing his memories, becoming apprentice to Ansem the Wise.
Yeah.
Xehanort had a long, complicated life, okay? It's very important to note in what point in his life this takes place, and then what, like, body possession. Experiments on the Heart, Note on Subject X, Excerpt 1. Subject was found in the central square shortly after dawn. Female, approximately 15 years old. After 7 days of observation, she has spoken her first words. She could not provide a name. She exhibits signs of profound amnesia, and displays concerns about which world this is. Her words suggest that she departed her home with others, although she cannot recall the names of those companions. Efforts to explore those memories have been met with rejection responses. After the initial experiments on me, Ansem the Wise ceased his research into the heart. His hand stayed by some fear that I cannot fathom. Yet, this new subject is like me, devoid of memories. She is the perfect sample upon to which to continue my master's work. She, too, could benefit from it. By traversing the heart, we have a direct path into the memory. I myself have begun to reclaim the lost parts thanks to these experiments of himself. Who is she? Where did she come from? These are questions that no scientist could ignore. And she has muttered, "May my heart be my guiding key." Or may your heart. So this kind of also explains why Xehanort at some point regained his memories and started fucking murdering everybody in the lab because he was experimenting on himself. Experiments of the heart. Notes on subject X, except 2. This is report 4, by the way. Still by Xehanort. Subject's memories have not returned, and our conversations remain less than lucid. Whatever fragments can be gleaned evoke an image from a bygone world, like one out of fairy tale. As improbable as it seems, the question may not be where she came from, but when she came from. If she has truly crossed time, the prospect of probing her heart is all the more compelling. My pilot studies used a handful of subjects, but none possessed the fortitude to endure them. Ultimately, all suffered mental collapse. I knew it would be a heavy blow to lose a subject as unique as she is. Upon discovering the tests that I've been conducting, my master demanded that I cease the work immediately and destroy whatever research I may have compiled. Worse still, he offered to release the remaining subjects, but she is gone. Where is subject X now? Has the wise Master Ansem hidden her away? Whatever the case, I will not be deterred. I will take her place as the first test subject for my grand experiment to come. So this is also why Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, was like, "Hey, remember that girl? I'm looking for her now again."
Yeah.
And Ansem was like, "I don't know, dude. Maybe I know something, but I probably don't." Because she was a pretty major reason as to why the experiments were stopped. Report number 5. Memoirs, except 1, by Psyx. Because, sure. The castle was a wonderland for us children. Within the walls, Ansem the Wise conducted his research, and the fruits it bore allowed everyone outside to live peacefully and happy. That alone was enough to strike our interest, though not all of the rumors that had escaped the walls were benevolent. At night, muffled sounds of humans wailing emerged. Very sus.
Damn.
There was talk of dangerous human experimentation. Lee and I couldn't help but hatch a plot to steal inside and sate our curiosity. The 2 who stood guards at the gate were researchers themselves, though you wouldn't think it if you see them. They are like very big, brutish, hulking people. But apparently they're also smart. Massive and barrel-chested as they were. And slipping past the duo was only the first hurdle. It proved nearly not easily cleared. We were found out and tossed out by our ears, time and time again. On the day we finally secured our entry, we descended the long spiral staircase to the heart of the castle to find the dark space below it, lined with cages. There wasn't enough light to see if they were inhabited, and we were in no position to call out to any occupants within. Yet we could feel it, a definite presence that was in the black. Terror washed over us, and we immediately regretted coming here. But just as we turned to flee, we heard the faintest of voices. The urge was nigh overpowering, but someone or something beckoned us on. There, framed in a tenuous silver light, we found her. Memories except 2. Report 6. Getting there. Also by sight. It was too dim to make out her features. We spoke only in hushed whispers. Who was she? Why was she imprisoned here? She had no answers for us. Had no memories at all. She was an enigma. But I knew that I wanted to help her. So we continued our infiltrations. Most of them stopped short at the castle gates, but we did manage to find our way inside. We spoke to her, all the comfort that 2 children like us could offer her. But Lee had other ideas. He was determined to free her. We slipped into the castle that day, knowing that that's the only thing we wanted, with all our hearts, to save her. But we did not find her inside that day, or the next, or any of our subsequent visits. Had she been moved? Had we just simply imagined her? Lee and I knew there was one way to be certain. We also were to stand before the castle gates today, not as trespassing children, but to become Ansem the Wise's newest apprentice. So that's why they joined. Secret Report 7. On the Replica Program and Reanimation by Vaxen. Following my erasure and my recompletion as a human, I did not awaken right away. Perhaps the damage was exceptionally grave. Even after awaking, I remained in bed, pondering my next course of action. My work on the replica program for the organization, I produced 20 vessels. Most of the early ones were failures. Not one of them was granted a number. The first to succeed from that early lot was Replica Riku. Riku Replica is what it says here, but we know him as Replica Riku. Subsequently, Shion, number I remember you getting real mad over that one, number imaginary, was essentially indistinguishable from a natural human. Though, well, I don't know, she didn't have a face, so... Though she became unstable due to the influence of others. Using those as my foundation, I worked to construct a number of nigh-perfect replicas. But as they neared completion, my efforts were cut short. I suspect that Xehanort aims to use both of the initial as well as the unused replicas from my later work. I arose that day, deciding to walk out on the town square. My first outing in some time. Yet my stroll was interrupted when a surprising visitor arrived with an unexpected offer. Though younger than me, he had risen to become Xemnas' right hand. I accepted his terms and became a nobody once more. Easier to gain access to the old replica program though. Whatever it takes to atone. Sig Report 8. The Real Organization. Also by Vexen. Xehanort seeks to gather 12 selves, which, together with his true, actual self, considers the Real Organization 13. Now that he has the numbers he needs, Demix and I are being treated as reserve. Several others who have served Xemnas in the old organization have followed the same course as mine, electing to abandon the newly restored humanity and rejoin the Real Organization as nobodies. But not Xemnas. Xemnas cannot exist in the present because Xehanort already is here. He's the old man in charge. The old man's humanity prevents his heartless and nobody, others vanquished in the past, and his younger self from being denizens of this time. So because a Xehanort already exists here, it's kind of difficult to have multiple Xehanorts around, so they need to resort to it, apparently. To circumvent this, Xehanort is using a prototype replica I created in the past as containers, blocking his other selves' hearts out of the time that they did exist. Xehanort ordered me to refine the prototypes to make them closer to the real thing, perfecting my creations so they may house true flesh and blood human suits in their own purpose as well. All that remains for my atonement is to devise a way to pass many vessels on to those who truly deserve them as I can. Ansem Code Conceptus, Expert 1, I have no idea what that means, written by Ienzo. I have pored over the data my master entrusted to Riku. Here, I offer my preliminary conclusions. Within Sora's heart, there are 3 compartmentalized boxes, each of one containing the heart of another. One box holds Roxas. Another holds a second heart that has been with Sora nearly as long. And the third has hold a heart for much longer. The hearts have melted with Sora's and no longer have voices of their own. Any attempt to mechanically exert them could prove dire for Sora, which caused him to become a heartless in the first place. First, a vessel must be readied for the heart. Then a spark of some sort is required to introduce its waking. Obviously, the ideal solution is to restore each heart to its own body. But, whatever the case for the 2 unknown individuals, Roxas possesses no such thing. He never had a body of his own. He just used Sora's body. The same for Namane, who we believe resides in Kairi's heart. Still, if alternate bodies can be secured for them, all their hearts will be required to awaken with a spark. People that they cared for or who cared for them, who can show them the way home. Complete and perfect digitalization of a heart is impossible. We can only hope that to partly reconstruct it. Thus, I see no way forward with the hearts that we desperately need within Sora. Fortunately, the data stored in Twilight Towns contains a near perfect record of the memories of who lived there. And for Roxas and Namane especially, this is crucial. So that's a bit more backstory on how the fuck Roxas was able to return.
Yeah.
Replica body and connection between Shion, Roxas, whatever. Ansem Code Conceptus Excerpt 2, also by Ienzo. As for how to contain the hearts, the only conceivable option is the replicas. If we transfer the digital memories from Twilight Town's archive, the replica should be able to reconstruct the individual human's appearance with near-perfect results. then their hearts need only the right spark to wake them. So they may find a way outside of Sora and Kairi in those circumstances. The replica program was truly revolutionary, but it was incomplete at the time of the All Organization's dissolution. Without Vexen, how are we to further this research? We need at least 3 replicas. 1 for Roxas, 1 for Naminé, and 1 for the unknown stowaway in Roxas's heart. These are difficult quandaries, but I work through them with my master's data. I find myself remembering the taste of ice cream. When I was a boy, he would bring me some as we took walks together. There will be time to regret all of that betrayal later, but for now, my focus must be on restoring Roxas and Naminé and providing my master with good intention. Ice cream really came out of left field, didn't it?
Yeah.
Does make me crave some ice cream, though.
Yeah. Like here.
Yeah. Observations, except 1, by unknown. Here's where things get interesting. It's unknown. I have seen it through. The Keyblade War unfolded exactly as was written on the lost page. Now the Keyblade the Master entrusted to me, I must bequeath it to another. 5 Union leaders have been chosen from the surviving Dandelion. I will pass my Keyblade to one of them and then continue to watch as the future unfolds. Yet it seems like someone has pulled the old switcheroo. One of the 5 is an imposter. Someone the Master did not choose. They represent a virus in the program he so carefully wrote. The virus has become a strange undertaking, a reckless plot to allow the 5 to escape into another world line. Surely such a thing can't be possible. We're talking about the same trick that allowed the Dandelions to transfer to another world line after the Keyblade War. But these children are no masters. They haven't the means, unless a certain lady of magic, someone from the future, possibly knows more than I do. The whole Union leader thing was supposed to be by the books. Are these events just another phase of the Master's grand plan? So I'll tell you, this is Luciu writing.
Mm-hmm.
This involves stuff from the mobile game, which again, if you played the mobile game as it was coming out when you were reading this for the first time, this would mean a lot more than it does to you right now. It's still good to remember this, that after the Keyblade War, the Dandelions, the faction at Ava, created Aqua wasn't born for like hundreds of years yet. But that faction, they transferred to a different world line, which is different from a different world. Like it's a distinctly like more alternate reality than it is different worlds.
More
like the world,
more like another timeline.
Kind of, yeah. Which presumably might have also been what Sora did in this game when he traveled back in time to prevent everybody from dying.
Right.
That last part is me filling in the blanks. I don't know for sure that that's the case, but that makes sense to me.
If you wanna make sure you don't get timey-wimey bullshit paradox shenanigans, just make another branch in the timeline.
That's what's going on here, because after everybody died, we literally saw the last sentence from the Book of Prophecies. So as foretold, darkness prevailed and light expired.
Right.
That's how the Book of Prophecies. But then Sora goes back in time, changes things, and now there's more history past that. Unless that light expiring things it is not at that point in time, and it's sometime in the future still.
Also,
because like the end of the Keyblade Wars happened like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like the original one, arguably the one in Birth by Sleep, and then the one here in 3.
Also, is the Lady of Magic who knows more?
It can only be one person, right?
Is that Maleficent having the Book of Prophecy?
Yes, but it's interesting that you picked up on that, because a Lady of Magic sent from the future. So Maleficent, and we'll get into this when we do Union Cross. Maleficent is in the ancient past, but it's not just her existing there and then living into the modern era. What seems to have happened is the Maleficent we know at some point jumped back in time to mobile game time, Age of Fairy Tales, and that has presumably kind of fucked up what the Master of Masters was doing. I'll tell you now, she travels back in time after you kill her in Kingdom Hearts 1. In Kingdom Hearts 1, she turns into a dragon.
Right.
Because Riku frees her heart with that Keyblade of Hearts. We know what free hearts can do in time travel.
Yeah.
The actual mechanics of how the fuck she ends up in the far-flung past, I'll explain when we get to that. And then during the mobile game, she eventually does go back into the future, which, as of right now, we don't have any mechanics for how future time travel works. That should confuse you.
Just go 88 miles an hour.
Exactly. Well, that one works in both directions.
Yeah.
And that's how she eventually ends up back in Kingdom Hearts 2. Remember Kingdom Hearts 2 that like her raven just like dropped off her robe and she was back suddenly?
Yeah.
That was her traveling back from the past into the present.
Okay.
Which was not planned at that time, I can promise you that much. But we'll get more into that explanation as we cover the mobile game, which we'll do first and foremost. We've got 2 reports left, so let's make it through this and then we'll finally be done. Observations Excerpt 2. Even on a world line with no Keyblade War, peace is but a dream. In the absence of our master, a darkness has arrived. One that is surely to lead the world to yet another demise. Amid the chaos, I bequeath my Keyblades to one of the new Union leaders, just as the master had instructed me. I watched as the 5 was sent to another world line, at no small cost, ensuring the line of Keyblade Masters will live on. And now, Keybladeless, I must depart this land to fulfill my final task. This means casting aside my own body and sending my heart from vessel to vessel to vessel, as many as it takes. I will continue gazing upon the passing eras, one onto the next. In time, years, decades, centuries, or millennia, I will meet my 5 comrades once more. Somewhere in this cyclical history of bequeathings, a chosen one will appear that will reenact the Keyblade War. Then, when the scapegoat arrives and takes my Keyblade in hand, that will be the time to take center stage and finish my role. The Lost Masters will be awake. So, Xehanort's entire fucking plan
Wasn't his plan.
wasn't his plan. Xehanort was a pawn.
Yep.
Like Master Manipulator Xehanort was one pawn in the Master's plan, which is kind of like an intellectual version of power creep.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how I feel about it. For now, I like it. But I swear to God, if like phase 3 is, but somebody was manipulating the Master, I'm going to lose my mind. I know.
Yeah.
The last report, observations, Excerpt 3, unknown. Still Lucio. It seems this body, this face will be my last. That one. The one with the eye patch. Well, at the time he took him over, he didn't have the eye patch. The lives I've lived over the ages could fill volumes, which, please, I want like an entire separate game series of just Lucio through the ages. He will show up in other games. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, he exists in every point in time. So wherever in the timeline you make a game, Lucio can be there. But for now, I must focus on what matters most. The Keyblade has been successfully passed down, generation to generation. And it seems a Keyblade master devoted to the darkness has finally risen. Until now, I have watched over the course of events from a distance. Perhaps it is time to intervene. I need to only play the role of a fool seeking the Keyblade's power. I will don the mask of his ally in order to keep watch over the Keyblade close by. The Gazing Eye. A Keyblade forged from the eye of the Master of Masters. He has passed it down to me, as I have done to others. And through it, he can see all the future. All that will ever come to pass. Spanning all the ages in body after body. Life after life. My task has been to keep vigil over the eye as it passes from hand to hand. It has been a long time. Longer than I can express. But now, at least, I feel like that's supposed to say now at last. The Keyblade War has begun. And Kingdom Hearts will open. A true and complete Kingdom Hearts, born of the clash between light and darkness. I will soon be reunited with my old companions, and in that moment, my long vigil will reach its end. He will return. And that's officially the end of whatever content we have for this game, except the DLC. We're not doing the DLC today, because that is very much phase 2. Been a long one. I tried to speed through it as much as I could, but the last 3 hours of this game are fucking dense.
Yeah. I'm very glad we did this in 2 parts.
Yeah.
Not just this game in 2 parts, but this second part with a break.
Yeah. Without the reports, we could have powered through probably, but I knew that we also would have to do the reports.
Yeah.
I meant to summarize them, just as I meant to summarize them last time, but I didn't get around to them.
It's okay. In this way...
I mean, this is where you have the actual text. So especially for 3, I don't know like what implications could be hiding in here. I don't know about yet. We're getting dangerously close to modern day.
Yeah, exactly. In the previous game, you knew where everything was going, so you can summarize and take out parts that don't really matter.
Well, you say that, but then again, the series is very good at taking scenes that meant literally nothing a decade ago and suddenly gave them the meaning. Yeah. Like one of the scenes in Birth by Sleep, which I pointed out at the time, which you might remember, is Axel or Lee and Isa walking down the like town square in Raiden Garden and looking up at the castle. Like, today's the day we're going up there.
Yeah.
At the time, that was supposed to mean like, oh, that's how they get involved with the nobodies. With today's context, that means something entirely different, and it's the start of like the major storyline, one of the major storylines going forward in Phase 2.
Yeah.
It's really good at doing that. And if we had done this a year ago, I wouldn't have highlighted that scene. I wouldn't have highlighted the fact that in Kingdom Hearts 2, there's a scene where you see the cells that like this subject X was held in, and you see a shot through one of the cells from the inside.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have highlighted that either if I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that even as early as Kingdom Hearts 1, scenes exist that could be built upon going forward that I just don't know about. So do keep that in mind. But at this point, I do try to give you like more of this is everything that happens that could possibly be relevant.
Yeah.
Because I know less and less going forward.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying and exciting at the same time. So it's been quite a long session. Do you have any questions, critiques, points to bring up, anything at all before we close this one out and
have some ice cream?
Have some ice cream, which everybody watching this has already seen because
timey-wimey, we're going back in time.
We're going to release our hearts and travel back in time to the beginning of the video to a simpler time.
Yeah. Question is not so much especially because this wraps up a whole lot of stuff.
I would argue that it doesn't do a good job of wrapping everything up.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It does way too much setting up for Phase 2.
Yeah.
It's like Kang just walking in the middle of Endgame.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And then getting written out because the actor gets arrested, but that's an entirely different story.
I mean, there's a lot of setup, but questions for that don't really...
I mean, you can try. If there's anything that you like, maybe there's things that you question and I can answer, or I can speculate on.
I do find it funny to see the Maleficent and around.
Surprisingly relevant.
Has a much bigger role than I expected. Up till now, they're just
homeless.
Hello, we're here, and then we're gone. Bye. And now to hear now that she has gone back in time to fuck around with the big old plan, which is also kind of a Christian thought, and having God has a plan for everything kind of deal.
It's you can very much read it as the Master of Masters being some sort of God.
Yeah.
If he's not omnipotent, he's at least near omniscience.
Yeah.
To an extent where at least like he's omniscient as far as like everything the Keyblade sees, he knows. But I still kind of have doubts as to how accurate that is. And this is very much me speculating. But as I stated before, I feel like Phase 2 is going very meta with things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put Yozora back into your mind real quick. The video game character from Toy Box.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be something going forward. I don't know what, but he shows up again and he seems relevant. And he's a video game character, which is really fucking meta. And I still also do think that like the whole theory about the thing that gives Sora his power is all of the people playing the games, believing in him. If you believe, multiple times throughout this game specifically, it said, if you believe something strong enough, it will like gain a heart, it will have a heart, it will be reality.
Yeah.
I still feel that that's the direction they're going with. And with that, the Master of Masters being like full on Deadpool, realizing that they are inside the video game.
That'd be fucking awesome.
I really think that is where this is going. Maybe it's not, but it feels that way.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing. I like meta characters a lot.
Mm.
I like it when media is aware that it is media. And it's always interesting to me personally when characters are aware of that as well. It's very easy to fuck up. And I've got 2 or 3 other much smaller projects that I'm going to take a year to like 1 or 2 episodes, which also center around games that do this.
Mm.
First, we'll finish Kingdom Hearts. Don't worry. And we've got a few other plans as well. But I do think that Kingdom Hearts is leaning more into that direction as well.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, I don't think that the Master of Masters only knows what the Keyblade says. I think he might literally just beat Tetsuya Nomura.
That might be the case. Or another way you can put that is having just the perspective of what the Keyblade sees can give you very wrong information.
Yeah.
And
that's the only thing that I'm thinking, right? Is because eventually, presumably, we have to be able to beat the master. So
Yeah.
there needs to be a limit to his future seeing power.
Yeah, because up till now, as far as we know, he can only see what the Keyblade sees. Having just one perspective, even though that perspective goes through all of history, can give you very wrong information as to what actually is going to happen.
Yeah.
At some point, that Keyblade is just hanging on the wall, and sure, in a very important room. But
I mean, the master has seen Xehanort and Erica's have hundreds upon hundreds of not chess matches.
it's fucking boring.
Yeah.
And it's around for the big moments, sure, but stuff leading up to those big moments, if you don't have all the information for you to set up the plan to make it happen that way, can fuck around with your big old grand plan. So that would be kind of interesting.
I have a little bit more information here than you, and I'm going to just like tease it a little bit. I'm not going to go full on because I know well, who knows really, right? but I know what the master's like end goal of the plan is.
Right.
You don't. Knowing that, I'm just going to put it out there that the presumption that eventually we'll have to defeat the Master of Masters and like undermine his plan might not actually be required.
Well, up to this point, we don't have any reason to presume that the Master of Masters or his plan is bad.
I mean, we see the metaphor with the new game Ericus and Xehanort play, where Xehanort has the 7 dark pieces,
Right.
which very obviously are representative of those masters.
Right, but that still doesn't. Up till now, darkness has been the bad.
You're sounding a lot like Xehanort right now.
But who knows?
Yeah. Now, in the next part, in the next game, which I think we'll do in 2 parts again because it's a very long one. Even a cutscene compilation, which I am using for that one, is split up in 2 parts.
Oh shit.
There's a very like passionate community around those games because they ran for so long, and after they closed down, there's a community project because it's a mobile game, it's all just text, and I was not looking forward to making notes on that.
Oh yeah.
But there's a community project that just like strips out all of the filler cutscenes, only has like the actual story cutscenes, the back cover movie spliced in with it to give you like time context, and has like everything fan voice acted.
Oh shit.
So that's the one I'm going to be using. For anybody watching this, it's the I think it's the channel's Demo77.
That's
amazing
a
stuff.
shit ton of work. Damn.
That's a shit ton of work, and I'm going to be very glad that they did
Oh
it.
yeah.
So
that's a shit ton of less work for you.
exactly. Now, it is going to save my life. We'll do that in 2 parts too. The first part is not going to be that interesting. The second part goes around to explain a lot of the stuff that we're talking about right here, and give a lot more context and a lot more insight into the master's plan. Then again, he's a fucking unstable piece of shit. So maybe everything he says there is also manipulative.
Yeah.
I don't know. One last thing, unless you have other stuff.
Well, it's just maybe it would be fun if in the end, like the Master of Masters might be, I forget his name, but the writer of the games.
Yeah.
And seeing everything through the eye, or just you playing the game has the games has given him all the information he needs.
That is the thing that I'm leaning toward personally most is indeed it's not necessarily like the eye in the Keyblade. That is the perspective that he sees. It is because he is the creator of the game and as such creator of the universe, which is like it's kind of implied that he's some sort of god character. You playing through the games is actually the perspective that he sees.
Yeah.
Which
that would be pretty funny if he and you can only do that for the game in which he reveals that. But if they write in some sort of mechanic in which he comments on your playing style,
yeah,
like if you've died a lot at some point,
you're gonna really like Undertale when we cover it.
Oh yeah,
because Undertale does this a lot.
Oh that.
It has characters that, like, there's one self-aware joke where a character says, yeah, I promised this other dude that I would look after you. And look at you, you've not even died once. At which point in the game you've died, like, countless times.
Yeah. That would be fun. And it's you can only do that for the game in which he reveals that because you can't go back and look at how you played the other games.
Well, you could argue that at this point, the reason that they release everything for PS4 is so that they could patch in tracking data to link to your PSN account.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen.
No. No, that sounds like a fuck ton of work.
And kind of, while nobody reads EULAs, but kind of a privacy-related issue as well to track that information without telling them. And if it's in the EULA, like that would definitely, like people would have caught on by that.
Yeah. I mean, someone is reading that shit.
Yeah.
That would be great if in that game, in the EULA, there would be something about that. Not specifically about tracking from previous games, but just...
I would very much enjoy
just some sort of comment from the Master of Masters.
in the actual EULA. That would be amazing.
That would be fucking great.
I mean, I could see it.
Oh, yeah.
I could definitely see it with the bullshit that they've gone through at this point. Now, I want to talk about one more thing real quick,
right?
Which might cause us to go into a different direction again. And this is probably going to take too long to scroll through, so we'll just stick on Lushu. I said Lushu, fuck you. I just want to point this out. In report number 12, Lushu writes, even in a world line with no Keyblade War, peace is but a dream. In the absence of our master, a darkness arrived. This darkness is in quotation. So it's not just like Heartless showed up.
Right.
There's something special. Just need you to remember that. If you have thoughts on it, let me know. But otherwise, just remember it.
Well, it sounds like, because there's chess pieces in the color of the darkness and stuff, as if they... sounds like for them that's inverted. The whole light and darkness thing.
So they see light as darkness and darkness as light?
Right. Or I'm reading very much in the wrong direction.
That's not the takeaway that I thought you would have from that. At first, and this might still be the direction it's going, my assumption was that phase 2 is going to be much more about, like the whole thing about Xehanort is we want a balance, right?
Right.
There's too much light, not enough darkness, even though all the worlds are separated by darkness, but hey, whatever. And by defeating Xehanort, you keep him from achieving that goal. So my thought going into phase 2 is still, I kind of want to see the repercussions of Xehanort having in the end been right and
there being too much light and
we
no
find
balance.
Like light heartless or something. Like people succumb to the light. That's what I want. That's still possible within the current canonicity, because I'm just going to, up until this point, tell you, we're still just fighting darkness, but in a like different way, method, different whatever. It's kind of hard to really pin this down because it feels like Kingdom Hearts 4 kind of stuff, and well, we're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with all this talk that we're having here, I do think that you're going to enjoy the mobile game, which is insane because it's a mobile game. But it's at this point, aside from Kingdom Hearts 3, at this point it's probably the most important, maybe even more important for the lore than Kingdom Hearts 3.
Damn.
And it was a mobile game, and it's infuriating. So I think we should wrap it up right here. Yeah. And next time we'll be back with the first part of Union Cross, which is... I'm going to ask you to think of a character name, because canonically, our player character exists and is like a character.
Uh-huh.
For the slideshow, I'm going to use the cutscene compilation. So everybody's going to be seeing the screenshots from the character that Damio made. But I do want you to think of like a name to give to our character so we can use it.
All right.
Because the fact that it is the player character, again, going into my theories that phase 2 is going to be much more meta. The fact that it is a player character which is named is, if not lore relevant, at least like emotionally relevant.
If you play this game yourself, you also name this player character?
Right. You name them, you can design them, so you have like hair options and whatever. But that's not just a self-insert into the universe. Like that player character does exist. It is one of the millions of Keyblade wielders during the Age of Heritage.
Right.
But we all play the same one. We just give him a different name and whatever, and it looks different, but we all play the same. It is an actual character. It's not just you're one in the masses and that's how we get away with it being a player character. No, This is a specific person.
Huh.
Which is why we need to actually, like, I'm not going to want to refer to them in my script every single time as player.
Nah.
So I just want a name.
All right.
So that's your homework, and I'm going to spend like another fucking 20 hours making another PowerPoint. And we'll see you back next time, because I need to edit this down as well.
Yes. Bye.